Also the possibility that the clouds pull the plane skyward, but beyond that, just don't understand how a large metal tube could just kind of float in the air like that. And it's going at like 500 miles per hour, which means that when I'm on a plane, I'm also going 500 miles per hour. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, why is my hair blowing back and forth?
The Stanford team added they plan to devote the next 2 years to a new study on why telephones can hear. In other news, an urban planner is stuck in traffic of his own design, and a kid screams behind a passenger during an entire plane crash. Visit theonion.com/newsbeat for more.
You can help spread the ideas of liberty with our Patreon for just $5 per month at amps.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live today on this Mother's Day edition of Free Talk Live. 603-283-6160 is the phone number to get in on the conversation with us tonight. That's 603-283-6160. And with you on the show tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
And Lori.
And we do have another guest joining us who's not here yet. We have Mark Edge in studio with us tonight, but not yet. He'll be here soon, like 20 minutes late or something like that.
Fashionably.
Yeah, fashionably late, of course. Mark, the metrosexual, will be here fashionably late. He's called himself that, apparently.
Interesting.
That he, does his hair or whatever.
Is that what makes you metrosexual? You just do your hair? Like, brush your hair and then that's
As
it?
a man.
As a man.
And, wear a suit or something like that.
Not have dirty fingernails.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Well, happy Mother's Day, Lori.
Thank you.
Since you are a mother.
Yes.
Did you have a good Mother's Day before you came over?
It was nice. I woke up this morning and immediately got flowers and a stuffed animal for my kids.
Aww.
And then Stu took care of all of the chores all day and made me dinner and a cake, and that was nice.
Excellent. What kind of flowers?
It was like carnations and some maybe black-eyed Susans. I don't know. It was like all kinds of flowers. There was one really cool green flower. I don't know what it was, but it was green and it had like little starbursty pattern petals.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what Sophia got me. And then Olivia got me a stuffed animal because she had bought her own stuffed animal like a couple weeks ago. And I was like, oh, that's really cute. And she was like, oh. So she went and bought me one of the same like brand.
Nice.
But like a different one.
Awesome.
So
That's
now we have
cute.
matching stuffed animals.
That's so cute. I love carnations like a lot. They're so awesome.
They smell good.
Yeah, they do.
Mm-hmm.
So we have lots of things to talk about tonight. Some things Mother's Day related, but I want to put off that a little bit until Mark gets here because I definitely have some stuff that I think will be juicy to hear Mark's opinions on. And we heard Mark. He's very angry if you talk about. He's a very angry man if you talk about circumcision. Apparently, no, I'm just kidding. He's not. He's not angry, but he was yelling at the guy who was yelling at me when circumcision came up last week. So I think it was deserved.
Yeah, it's because that guy was like conflating what you were saying with whatever he was thinking in his head, which was like the conversation. He was just talking past you in conversation.
Yeah, it sounded like he was already hurt about circumcision, which I understand. Like that's what sucks about it. It's like, for all we know, he was like messed up somehow by it.
Mm-hmm. That happens.
Yeah.
Like I know somebody who got her son circumcised and then he like started bleeding out and she had to take him to the hospital to, have him not die.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Oh, that's creepy.
It's pretty awful.
I would definitely not do that to my kids if I had kids. But the thing is, like, it's more talked about now. Like, if I was, like, in my 20s and the 80s and I had a kid, I'd probably just do what everybody else did. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, nobody talked about it.
Yeah.
Like, when we were younger.
Yeah.
It was just normal. That was the thing that everyone did.
Yeah. It's probably the same with, like, a lot of medical interventions. So it's like you just do whatever the doctors say because they're usually right in your head or whatever. So I would not blame anybody listening that's like gotten their kids circumcised or anything like that in the past. I just think that it's probably for the best that, well, the only reason I brought this up, this Mother's Day, all of a sudden giving people guilt or something, the only reason I brought this up was because we were talking about Mark, and Mark is going to be here and I want to hear his opinions on some parenting related things, not like mother specific, because obviously Mark is a man, even though he is a metrosexual. So before we get into that, let's talk about this weird story. This is from lettersfromleo.com. Never heard of it. It says MAGA religious leaders dedicate and bless a 22-foot golden Trump statue at Doral. Yeah, I know. It sounds like the story of the Israelites worshiping the golden calf.
Ridiculous. A 22-foot Trump statue, gold Trump statue.
It is
blessed.
Really ridiculous. And he's holding up his arm with the fist, like the Free Talk Live fist, or whatever you want to call it. People, did you know there are
Black
people
power.
that ask us if it's, yeah, exactly. People are ask us if it's a socialism thing, because apparently, or a communist thing. Apparently it was used in communist, like, manifesto, or, like, papers or whatever.
It's just like a power symbol.
Right. That's what I
all.
always thought. Even if it has been used in those other groups, even if it was used by them first, I would say that, it was kind of like, oh, well, they started it, but
I mean,
now it's just power.
Did they though?
If they did,
I don't think so. That's like the gays claiming like rainbows are only for gays. You can't have rainbows.
But if
It's
we were
ours
just like,
now.
we're changing the Free Talk Live thing to like all rainbows, I think people would be like, oh, looks kind of gay.
They would think that. But I mean, it's not just for gay people.
Yeah.
Like, oh, kids can't like rainbows anymore or else your kid's gay.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I do think that it doesn't really matter since Trump isn't, like, there's no way he's actually a Christian. Like, I'm pretty sure he claims to be a Christian, but
I think he does.
Doesn't act like one in multiple ways, and getting a 22-foot gold statue of himself. And then the crazy thing is that a pastor would bless it, but he's an evangelical. Okay, it makes sense. It says it was blessed by Pastor Mark Burns and a circle of evangelical and Jewish clergy. Or maybe Pastor Mark Burns is not evangelical. I don't know. The Catholic Church has a name for what just happened and a duty to stop it. Whoa.
Yeah, it's called blasphemy, right?
Yeah, but like, what does that mean? They have a duty to stop it. What does that mean? Like, do they go around like stopping all blasphemy all over the world? That's really weird. It just seems like a weird thing to do, in my opinion. But
New
let's see.
Crusades just dropped.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're gonna show up in Florida, because I guess Doral is this another place where he has a house? Because I would have thought this was at Mar-a-Lago, but I guess we'll see. So it says a 22-foot effigy of Donald Trump wrapped in gold leaf now stands at his Doral golf course in Miami.
Oh, it's at a golf course.
So is that Doral just the name of the golf course that's at Mar-a-Lago, maybe? I don't know, honestly.
I have no idea.
The president boasted about it Thursday morning on Truth Social with the all caps line, "The real deal, gold." And apparently it's just gold leafed, but anyways.
It's less offensive now, because I thought this was like some statue that he put up somewhere.
Oh, at the White House?
Like, publicly,
Oh.
like at the White House or like somewhere in Washington. But if it's at his golf course, like, who cares?
I just think it's weird that any pastor would agree to go and bless it.
That part's weird.
That's
but
like
I mean,
a golden calf.
But I mean, there's all kinds of weirdo religious pastors, clergy members all over the place that do things that don't go along with what the church says anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, with the gays, like they have the pastors who are like, this is our gender fluid congregation. Like, that's not canonically Christian at all.
Yeah, that's true.
So
And
you
the
can
ones that are
find
just
someone
like-
to do anything if you pay them.
The ones that are like, they didn't really mean no homosexual relationships, even though it
Right.
says that. Well,
Even though it
Jesus
says that
died,
they-
and then that changed everything.
Even though it says that they stoned them to death, like, they didn't mean that.
Yeah, exactly.
They just meant they got, they smoked a little peace pipe and took a nap.
I'm even more surprised by the Jewish ones, but then again, I don't know like what they're like. I know that they're not trying to convert people, so if you're doing something that's anti what they're not supposed to do, like, well, those laws only apply to them, and they know that. But at the same time, they are blessing it under their authority, so that's a little weird. It says before the unveiling, the figure was blessed. Pastor Mark Burns, Trump's longtime spiritual advisor and a candidate for Congress in South Carolina's 3rd District, assembled a circle of evangelical and Jewish clergy at the foot of the gilded statue and consecrated it.
That's silly.
Yeah.
I was wondering if he was like some type of clergy, or if like he's the internet kind. Like, I can marry people because I went and got an internet.
Officiated
I forget what I am.
minister.
Like a minister or something. This was like way long ago because I was going to do someone's wedding. And so like, is he that? Like he just went online and was like, I am a clergy member now.
I don't know. I Googled him. I never heard of him before. So I Googled Pastor Mark Burns. He doesn't look that old, maybe like 40s. And it says Pastor John Mark Burns. So he just stole Mark's name. It's not his real name. His name is 2 of the 4 Gospels, so he must be a Christian.
Must be
pastor. Born September 21st, 1979, is an American. Oh, he's older than he looks. American evangelical minister, televangelist, and politician who is the pastor of the Harvest Praise and Worship Center in South Carolina. He was an early supporter of Donald Trump during the 2016 United States presidential election, he is in his 40s. That just hit me while I'm reading. And he was, and by the 2023, he was board member of Pastors for Trump. Okay, so yeah, basically he is a pastor at apparently a real church in South Carolina, and he has supported Trump since the beginning.
I lived in South Carolina. I wonder what the churches are like there, because I met some wild people when I was there. Like when I went, the very first time that I went to the thrift store, I was looking at the guns in the gun case, and this guy came over and started like being super, like he worked there, started being super racist, talking about the guns and like which guns he sells to the black people because they jam up and stuff like that.
What? That's
right.
horrible.
So I wonder what the churches are like there, like what part of South Carolina, and like
this guy is black.
And how weird is it?
I wonder if it's like a black church specifically.
Maybe.
Which, I mean, I don't think there's any church out there that's just like, you must be black to come. I don't think so.
No, but there's, if the church is like majority black people, it's probably not going to have lots of white people flocking to it.
Yeah. I've always heard that
cultural differences,
like mostly like the big black churches with like lots of like awesome music and stuff like that are like, I want to say Baptist, but I don't know if evangelical, just like, to me it means so many different things. Like
Baptists are the ones that like, aren't Baptists the ones that are super strict and like speak in tongues and like fall down?
They don't believe in speaking in tongues, which is weird because they are the ones that don't believe that after that happened and people spoke in tongues in the Bible that it continued.
Oh, okay. Who are the ones that do the snakes?
I don't know, honestly. I'm sure that like that falls under evangelical.
Okay. So evangelical is just all the crazy ones, like in that
they're
envelope.
The ones that basically they will read the Bible and be like, this is what it means to me, and therefore they believe that now. So and they're the ones that are usually most likely to be Zionists or like believe in Zionism.
So they just make up whatever they want it to say.
Well, that's actually, honestly, I kind of think the opposite. I think that like they're the ones that honestly read the book and they're like, that's what it says, so we should do that. And it leads to crazier things because the Bible says crazy things.
Yeah, like the bushes talk to you and stuff.
The other sects, they're like, yeah, but we ignore that, or we have this reason why that doesn't apply, so that way we can like keep things more reasonable. And honestly, they're the ones that are less honest. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
right, because if you're going to claim that you belong to a religion, you should be following the religious text. Yeah. Otherwise, you actually don't belong to that religion. You belong to some other religion that you should probably give another name to.
Yeah, exactly. So evangelicals, more actually honest, but lead to worse things because they are like, well, it says right here that the world has to end and we have to get Israel in a war in order for it to start. So it's actually for the common good for us to go to war with, like, have Israel go to war.
So evangelicals are the ones that are like the end times people?
Yeah.
With the signs? Okay.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, there's all kinds of like other words for each group, but I feel like evangelical covers a whole bunch. Yeah. I never even knew what kind of church we went to as kids. We just like went to all different ones.
I was Roman Catholic, and then my mom went slightly crazy and joined some non-denominational church where people like got laying of hands and stuff. That was interesting. That's
a really big mix-up after being Catholic.
Yeah. That was like almost my whole life, and then the whole non-denominational church thing lasted like a year or two, but she threw out like tons of my music and posters and stuff because it was demonic or whatever.
What kind? Do you remember?
Marilyn Manson. And yeah,
demonic. I'm just kidding.
Right. So like
I was always scared of him. That's why I say that.
Yeah, like I listened to rock and I was a little goth kid, and so maybe that's what happened. Maybe I scared my mom into going to the speaking in tongues, laying on hands church.
Interesting.
She was like, what's wrong with my kid?
yeah. She found Marilyn Manson pictures. Like, that guy was really creeped me out. Like, genuinely. Like, if I was like in a room alone, I see a picture of him, I exit off, you know what I mean? And be like, oh, I'm not
He
looking
was
at
a
that.
weirdo. I liked his music. Like, I didn't care about him so much. He was whatever, but I liked the music, like the way that it sounded.
Have you heard the theory that he is actually, I'm going to forget his name. Have you ever seen The Wonder Years?
Yes.
You know his
he's,
best friend?
Yeah, Paul something.
Oh, I'm glad you remember. That makes it easier. Paul Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, he looks like him. And Paul Pfeiffer, the guy who played him, apparently Josh Saviano, just never was any other TV shows or anything like that. Like he just isn't on. You don't like
He
spot
mysteriously
him.
disappear from,
From
the
like public life.
and he's Marilyn Manson now.
And people think he's Marilyn Manson. Oh, what the heck? Here's a picture of him as an adult. What the heck? Maybe I fell prey to like complete conspiracy theory. Huh, that is weird. Maybe he like disappeared for a while and now he's back just to be like, I'm not Marilyn Manson, guys. But honestly, I don't know.
Maybe he came to clear his good name. Like, I'm not this guy who dresses up like a freak.
Or, got ribs removed, allegedly, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what Michael from Texas has for us. Michael, you're on Free Talk Live. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Hey, Bonnie. I'm just watching these corrupt cops, and I don't know. That's basically what's on my mind. Is that I just wanted to bring Ian's name into the whole thing, but just anybody that's listening, anybody out there that's maybe even considering they might have been abused by the cops and they don't know what to do. I think a good recommendation is go talk to our lawyers. More people should go talk to their lawyers about suing these cops nowadays.
Suing people should talk to their lawyers about suing cops like when they get arrested. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Falsely accused, just harassed, whatever, all manner of things. That's what I'm saying. You might not know what people don't know that their own rights are being violated all the time by cops, and they just think their cops are supposed to be protecting and serving, and they're doing the right thing whenever they stop me and frisk me or kidnap me and all. No. Yeah, so I was just watching these videos and just being. It kind of makes me wonder how many are out there that we don't know about, we don't see every day. Sounds
like people just need to start with learning their rights, which is what it took for me.
Absolutely.
Like when I got arrested, I just knew something was wrong. I was like, this isn't fair, like multiple different things. Not to get into the whole story. So I had to just after that, like then go and learn my rights. And it took a long time, honestly. Even now, I wouldn't say I'm like perfect at it. Like, it's not that I know everything to say to a cop, but it's like sometimes it's just like the smallest bit of pushback gets them to stop bothering you because they're not used to people pushing back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The indoctrination to trust cops and like trust authority figures is pretty strong too for people. Like, people don't realize how bad it is. They think that you're lying when you talk about things that the cops have done, like, oh, you must have done something wrong, until it happens to them, which is happening more and more frequently now. Like, people are having bad interactions with cops and seeing that, that they do overstep and they do abuse their authority.
Yeah.
But yeah, she brings up a good point because, in some of these, the thing that bothers me most, is like almost sickening to an extent, is where some of these cops, where it's obvious, like a handcuffed, quote-unquote suspect, and that's being detained, and he's wanting to assert his rights, right? So he kind of stiffens up a little bit to speak his mind, and the cop just automatically slams him face first. He's handcuffed. The cop slams him so hard that he breaks his own ankle and admits it on his body camera.
Wow.
And yet a jury acquits him. See, the state found that there was a violation enough to put criminal charges on this officer, yet the public, the jurors, want to believe so much into their police force, that they're doing the right thing at all times, that they'll even, at the sake of another man's life, find this cop not guilty. And then he wins some, like, whatever local crap award about, officer injured in the line of duty. You injured yourself by being a pig.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, most definitely people need to assert their rights. And okay, so what if I walked up to you, Bonnie, and I'm like, hey, where's that ID at? And you're like, what ID? The one we make you pay for. You're supposed to have it with you at all times. Oh, well, I don't have it. I didn't think it was that. Oh, you didn't think it was that important? Well, hold on, turn around, put your hands behind your back. let me see how important it is to you now.
I've seen ones that go just this bad. Like in New Hampshire, that's not something they can do because they can't ask for your ID just because you're walking. They can only ask for your ID when you're driving. But I've seen videos.
That's true in some states. Not some states. You're supposed to have ID with you at all times, which is crazy.
Right, it's
crazy.
In Texas, technically you're in Texas. If they pull up on you walking or whatever, sleeping, I guess, in your own house, I don't know. If you don't have that ID on you, technically you're breaking the law and they can take you to jail.
It's horrible. And I've seen ones that are just as bad as what you're describing. Like a cop just walking and all of a sudden picks someone in the crowd and be like, hey, you have your ID? It's crazy.
Right. And as far as I know, that was the 100% fact. As far as you're 16 and above, when I was a kid, they may have changed it now, but when it had to be 16 and up, you had to have possession of an ID in the state of Texas.
That sucks. I don't know why. I just never got any cop interactions the whole time I lived in Texas.
Well, that's a whole other thing too, Bonnie. See, like I never even realized these little intricacies until I started listening to Mark and Ian. And then I'm like, wait, hold on. I never even acknowledged that when I turned 18, they had it's a law. I have to, be joined to some selective service, whatever that is. I don't even know what that is. I just think the first time I'm hearing of it. Or it's a law, and I'm a male. So isn't that discrimination? Isn't that against some kind of violation of my constitutional rights, that you're doing yourself?
I think the government's allowed to discriminate, right?
Yeah, obviously.
Until somebody brings a class action suit on behalf of all males that all females should have to, register for selective service, which I don't think they should. I think nobody should have to register for selective service.
Amen. Yeah,
and at this point, one wonders what it's even for. I mean, they haven't had the draft since 1973 or something? I don't know. It's been a long time.
It's for just in case.
Just in case.
Right.
Well, we're joined by Mark, obviously.
Yep, I'm here.
In the studio tonight instead of remotely.
Yes, that's awesome. Mark, I love you, bro.
Thank you.
Inspiration to me.
Thank you.
Hey, I want to ask you guys, I had, it kind of slipped my mind a few times, but where's Aria? I haven't heard, anybody say anything about her.
Aria doesn't want to be on the show because Aria wanted to do the online show, and then I don't really know what's going on with that online show, and Aria has a real job, so stuff like that.
Okay, cool. I just want to know. I hadn't heard anything. I have a little gap in my show history.
I think Aria is on Twitter. Not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
But thanks for asking.
Well, hey, already, yeah. Yep. I thought I was listening. One night I was listening to David and Sarah both called in. Oh, this is another thing. David out there in New Mexico, brother, you're a highly intelligent person, and I hate that what happened to you through the family court systems, brother, and it's terrible. But just I think you've let it take control too much of your life and your emotions, brother. And I think you need to do a little soul searching and release a lot of things and a lot of self-hatred or government hatred or whatever is easy at you.
Well, if he's listening, I don't know if that will get through. I mean, that's something that they did that was really, really wrong to him. More Free Talk Live coming up. More Free Talk Live. Don't go anywhere.
When every single dollar matters, think technology. I'm Holland Cook with Inflation Hacks. Ink cartridges for your printer are so expensive that office supply stores lock them up. Those Cartridge World refills work just fine. And even the office superstores will give you store credit for recycling used toner cartridges. About the extended warranty when you make a major purchase, every tech expert I've talked to says it's usually useless, pure profit, and the salesperson might be getting a bonus if you go for it. And why spend for software when you can use free online Microsoft Office? Programs like Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. And there are lots of free apps and Google Docs, too. How are you coping? Post your inflation hacks at andyoucanquoteme.com.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Nick Harper with the Week in Review. Much of the week was dominated with the continuing US-Iran conflict. The ceasefire remains despite a flare-up in tensions and an exchange of fire in the Strait of Hormuz. The US gave Iran a couple of days to weigh up a 14-point memorandum, a one-pager that could end the fighting. As FSN's Alistair D'Souza reports.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, while on a trip to Italy, says Iran's response is expected Friday. Rubio says he hopes serious negotiations then follow. The U.S. proposal is aimed at putting an immediate end to the fighting and opening up the Strait of Hormuz. A 30-day period of talks would then take place to address tough questions on Iran's nuclear program. Meanwhile, the fighting continued Thursday, marking the most intense military confrontation in weeks. U.S. President Trump insisting the ceasefire is very much in place.
The US and the Vatican have committed to improving bilateral ties after a fence-mending visit by Secretary of State Marco Rubio. His trip to Rome comes amid President Donald Trump's repeated broadsides against the leader of the Catholic Church, who's urged for peace in the Middle East. FSN's Tony Waterman sent this report from Washington.
It's an unusual assignment for Secretary Rubio to repair relations with the Vatican after his boss, President Trump, called the Pope weak and said the head of the Catholic Church supported Iran having a nuclear weapon. The State Department says Rubio and Pope Leo discussed the situation in the Middle East during his 2.5-hour visit to the Vatican, but didn't go into detail. Pope Leo, the first American pontiff, has been a vocal critic of Trump's war in Iran and his immigration policies. The trip was partly meant to help the White House shore up conservative Christian voters ahead of the midterms, a loyal Trump base upset with how he's treated the pontiff and memes the president has posted depicting himself as Jesus.
A US federal trade court this week struck down President Donald Trump's global 10% tariff, declaring it illegal. The White House imposed the rate in February after the Supreme Court ruled against the administration's Liberation Day tariffs. Meanwhile, President Trump has set a July 4th deadline for the European Union to implement a trade deal brokered last summer. FSN's William Denslow sent this report from Brussels.
Despite having what he called a great call with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, President Trump announced that tariffs would soar should the trade agreement not be implemented by July 4th. Under the agreement, European goods would see duties largely capped at 15%, while the US would see tariffs on its products wiped out. The European Parliament and EU member states must still endorse the deal.
From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN.
Yep, we still do email. Drop your email address in the entry box at freetalklive.com, and you'll be kept in the loop with Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. Welcome back to Free Talk Live. The number for you to call to get in on the conversation with us is 603-283-6160. And you can bring up whatever's on your mind, 603-283-6160. We have some Mother's Day related stories for you tonight. But first, ForkFest is happening this June 22nd to the 29th in Errol, New Hampshire at the Northern Waters Outfitters Campground. The owner has offered to host 100 campers at $10 per person per night on the site, and anyone staying in nearby motels, campgrounds, or Airbnbs who'd like to come be a part of the fest for a day is welcome to come for free for a day pass. The only restriction on freedoms the owner is asking us to abide by is no nudism, and I think we can deal with that. Forkfest.wtf, that's forkfest.wtf, and forkfest2026@gmail.com to sign up as one of the 100 campers. Mark's not going. Womp womp.
I don't think so. No.
And, sorry, with you on the show tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
Lori.
And Mark. I'm very interested in Errol. I want to see this campground. I think this is going to be as good as PorkFest for me. Mm-hmm. Because there'll be 100, there's 100 sites, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, it's not quite 100 sites. It's going to be more just like people putting campsites where they are at.
Okay.
It's smaller than Rogers by a lot. And like Rogers has had 3,000 people comfortably there. This is going to be okay, if we are counting sites like the sites are at Rogers, yeah, you can have a spot that big that we have at Rogers. But there's only like something like 12 real sites at this campground. It's pretty small.
Okay.
And it's just going to be people putting tents where they put their tents, and it's primitive
Just
camping.
wherever.
Yeah, that's definitely something people need to know is like if you need energy, you're going to have to bring a generator. But the river is loud. In fact, it sounds awesome. It makes me like want to sleep. That sounds exactly like the noise I play on purpose to fall asleep.
I'm going to go, but I'm not going to sleep there.
Oh.
Like I'm going to sleep at an Airbnb.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I'm interested in what it's like and all that, and I would go if I could, but I will be I have my plans are to be out of the country from June and July, but I probably will have to fly back for some business here and there.
Okay. Yeah. So.
But flying into Manchester Airport and then getting driving somehow in some way, managing to navigate from the airport at Manchester all the way up to Errol is very difficult. Errol has got to be 2.5 hours from every airport that I can think of.
Yeah, it is definitely. I thought it was 2.5 hours from Keene, but I was wrong. It's 3 hours and 20 minutes at least from Keene.
Yeah, it's far.
And it is
as far as you can get from in New Hampshire.
It's so nice up there. It feels like you're in like a vacation land. There's a thing called LL Cody's there, which is kind of like a smaller Bass Pro Shop, but they have like it looks big on the inside. They have like a restaurant in there. They have a grocery store in there, and then they have a new grocery store on the thing, so it's a real small town. But other than that, you have like beautiful sights. The river, I forget which river this is. It starts with an A. I keep forgetting. Amoskeag, or maybe
there's
that's
some
not right.
Indian river names up there.
All over New Hampshire. There's like the Babusick. I honestly hate when I see that one.
Wow, that's fun.
I don't like the way it sounds. Dang it, my dog is really mad. I'm going to have to fix that somehow. I don't even know what to do about that because it's like people in the backyard talking is making him angry. And what am I supposed to do? Tell them not to talk or something? But anyways, so sorry if you can hear that. Oh, maybe we can shut that if that's okay.
Yeah.
So sorry about the noise. That will be resolved before the end of the show.
It's probably not terrible. These mics are what they call unidirectional. So they have a area that they get the best voice out. The reason that we all eat the mics, as it were, right? The microphone is a centimeter from my lips right now. The reason for that is they're designed to get the full effect of your voice, but nothing really outside of that. So you can turn these babies up, and yeah, they'll pick up lots of things in the room, but the way they're set right now, and the way I'm speaking into it, it probably isn't very bad at all. It's not. They're not hearing it as loudly as you are.
I just know that Ian would be mad right now.
Oh yeah, Ian wouldn't like that.
Yeah,
he does like his perfect audio.
So one crazy Mother Day story, which honestly, it's like I feel bad. It's like seems like it's be something to be like stressful to even hear about as a mother.
Androscoggin or something.
Yeah,
Androscoggin.
Yeah.
River?
So I mixed. I got it pretty close, but yeah, that's a nice wide flowing river, and it has some parts that look kind of like slower, and some parts that are more white rafting. You see when you're driving around, and they have floats and canoes that we can use while we're at this campground. The Fork Festers can.
Oh, that's fun.
And it looks like it's gonna be just so much fun. I haven't floated on a river since I lived in Texas at all, and it's late June, so it'll be warm by then. When I was up there, it was raining and really cold, but it was still beautiful because it's just like a really beautiful place, like hills and mountains and stuff, and green. It is really it just feels like you're in like this is like vacation land. You know what I mean?
And it's forkfest.wtf. WTF.
Yep, it used to be forkfest.party. It's not that doesn't exist anymore, but Johnson, who does libertyminded.com, he just made a better website. So we're like, oh yeah, skip. Yeah, he was like, I'm tired of this website not being good. So he just took it upon himself and
Johnson's
made it in
like
a night. Nice. Yeah, I was like, that's awesome.
He is the guy who made our original logo for Free Talk Live. He was listening on the first nights of Free Talk Live. I don't know whether it was the first night or not, but it was darn close to the first night. And he gave us a logo before we ever,
The one with the hand?
It was the Screaming Guy logo. But he found some, I don't know, clip art letters. It's a particular font. And that was basically just Free Talk Live written in this font with the Screaming Guy yelling into a phone.
Interesting. I feel like I've seen it. but it's not popping up when I just like quickly Google. But also Google sucks now, and it has one small page instead of like page upon page upon page.
I think if you go to the archive.org and look at Free Talk Live back in 2002 or 2003, you will find it at that point. So
Nice.
Free Talk Live's been on the air for almost 25 years now.
Nice. So yeah, that's forkfest.wtf for more information on that. Definitely come up and hang out with most of us here on Free Talk Live. We'll be there. So I think that will be cool. I do feel bad in a way, because this is like, we're like, oh, this is about motherhood. Let's read this. And it's a really extremely stressful, horrible story of something that happened to somebody when they were giving birth.
Oh my.
But not like,
but it's like
medically.
important. It's important for like freedom. When you're a parent, there are a lot of things that come up that didn't enter your life as far as like your liberty until you had kids. Like tons of things. Bodily autonomy for kids, bodily autonomy for yourself, and like medical authoritarian overreach, and like governmental programs like schools and stuff like that. Just so much that you never even think about.
Yeah, the world's different when you have kids.
Yeah.
And of course the way that you interact with the state changes when you have kids. I'd say it's totally worth it.
Oh, yeah.
I love being a dad. I didn't want to have children when I was without children, but Laura demanded them and demanded one, and we had one, and I got to say I was completely wrong. It's awesome.
Nice. That's so sweet. So this woman, she wanted, I don't know, she was having her kid, and she was at the hospital. So that's like basically where this starts, the government overreach, and where people getting into your life, like you're saying, in a way that wasn't happening before because you weren't a parent. Starts at the hospital, apparently. Probably before you have your kids, at your prenatal checkups and stuff.
You become like a prisoner. Once you walk into a hospital and like check in, you become a medical prisoner.
It's like that. They certainly give you the impression that you don't have the license that you do on the outside, right? They have the control over your own body and the decision-making ability.
Right.
They will suggest that you can't even leave.
Did your wife have a baby at the hospital?
No, it was at a birthing center, which is effectively just a business.
A room.
Yeah,
Yep.
It's a place.
Yep.
They had a jacuzzi there and, the other spots.
Yes, that's what I did for my first, and then the second one I had at a hospital because I didn't have a choice. We were in Arizona, and there was no birthing centers near us. And then I had to take an ambulance because I was like, she's coming out now. It was like 3:00 in the morning. So I had both experiences.
Wow. Okay.
Hospital is terrible.
Was the birthing center in Utah?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's probably like pretty and awesome.
It was great.
Awesome. So this woman, it was in Florida. She was in labor at a Florida hospital. This is from ProPublica.org. She was in a Zoom court for refusing a C-section. Have you ever heard of anything?
While in labor.
Have you ever heard of anything this bad? Like, this is seriously the worst thing I've ever heard. A virtual court hearing from a pregnant mother's hospital bed, which I don't even know why it says pregnant mother. It should say like a mother in labor, like more importantly, shows what forced medical treatment can look like. Oh my God, this is disgusting. I see the Zoom meeting picture. There's literally a judge with the flags behind him and a whole bunch of bureaucrats all staring at you all of a sudden.
While you're in like one of the most vulnerable situations of your life, giving birth to a baby.
And there's her at the top in a hospital bed, clearly.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to put yourself in the place of Charisse Doyley, a pregnant mother of 3 who found herself facing a judge while in labor at the University of Florida Health Hospital in downtown Jacksonville. What's Jacksonville like? Is it crappy?
We call that southern Georgia.
But it's northern?
It's northern Florida.
Yeah. So
is it because they don't want to claim it?
Yeah, I mean, Jacksonville, to many Floridians, Jacksonville is just not like Florida.
Interesting.
I would consider Jacksonville the South.
Okay.
South Florida is North Florida kind of thing or something?
Yeah, it's one of those things.
She had arrived at the facility with a plan for her birth. She wanted to try for a vaginal delivery, but she understood from years of experience as a professional birthing doula that things don't always go as planned. So clearly she's more informed than like maybe somebody who never was a doula. She arrived overnight at the hospital after her water broke. Doctors told her they were concerned about the risk of uterine rupture, a potentially deadly complication for her and her baby. She understood the risk to be less than 2% and repeatedly told doctors that she wouldn't she wouldn't consent to a cesarean, which is another word for a C-section for people that don't know, without trying to have a vaginal delivery first. I wonder what their reason to say they were concerned about uterine rupture was.
Because they want to get you in, and you are a product when you're in the hospital. They want to get you in there, get the baby out as fast as possible, and get you done with, and then move on to the next person.
I believe that. I just mean, I wonder if they have some like, oh, there was this thing that tipped us off for that.
No.
Because if they just have nothing, it's just like, go screw yourself.
They will encourage you to schedule your C-section well before your labor date, to just like go and just get a C-section. Like, there's no proof that you're going to have any problem. They just want you to go in there, get cut open, take the baby out, sew you back up, and be done with you.
Mm-hmm.
Understand, like, what she's saying is so. Right?
No, I completely believe in know these things. I'm just saying that, like, would they have done this? Are they just not giving people?
We aren't
any
presented
reasoning?
with any evidence to the contrary, and I think that many people have the same experience that that she does and that I do, which is to say that doctors have gotten tired of the notion of waking up at 3:00 in the morning to rush in and wait 5 hours while a woman just goes ahead. Well, nature takes its sweet time and the baby comes out. Instead, the doctor would be rather, it'd be convenient for me if we could get this sometime between 7:30 in the morning and 3:00 in the afternoon. I do have a tea time.
Yeah, I've got golf to play.
Yeah, we've talked about it on the air before.
And that's cruel, but I mean, you can see why they don't want that. I mean, would you want that? Just any old time that you have to show up? Of course they want,
they
somebody
signed
to
up
schedule
for the
it.
job.
Yeah, I agreed.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, moms should get to decide how they want to have their kids. And I think this woman is as qualified as she needs to be to make that decision. And the idea that, that a judge was called and there was an emergency Zoom meeting for a doula who is having her third child to be, put on, like, to have a hearing in a hospital bed is incredible to me.
Yeah, never heard of anything like this, ever. So it says the doctors appeared to relent, leaving her to labor for several more hours. So she probably just thought, okay, that's that,
Yep.
Then a nursing supervisor wheeled a tablet up to her bed and informed her she was in court. Just like that. The reason? Failing to agree to a C-section. When advocates for pregnant women say that you shouldn't lose your constitutional rights just because you conceived, this is the kind of situation they're talking about. I'm a reporter based in Alabama, and not me, but this person writing this. And throughout my career, I've focused on women facing the consequences of the state's fetal personhood policy. Oh, I remember when this became a thing, right? Wasn't this a thing that basically it became a thing just a few years ago, and it had implications for embryos that had been frozen for people? That they were actually people?
Yeah, they are.
Was that Florida that did that?
No, it was Alabama.
Does Florida have abortion?
I don't know whether Florida has abortion. My guess would be late trimester abortion. However, I believe Alabama and several other southern states have outlawed it completely.
Yeah, Alabama definitely has. I don't know about where else, but I remember Alabama did this personhood thing, and it was causing all kinds of different weird things. I don't know if that has anything. That doesn't have anything to do in this case since this woman's in Jacksonville. But yeah, I guess this woman's reported on.
I can see the conflict at this point. If you call a fetus, a baby, a person, then somebody has to represent it, and is at that point is the mom, according to the state, right? Is the mom, the best person to decide whether this fetus being in danger, which is what they're going to claim with this situation? I would say yes. I'm of the opinion that parents should be able to decide a great deal for young children, and there are certainly extreme cases out there. I don't think this doesn't sound like one, at least at this point in the story. But there's some situations where I'm like, oh yeah, that person's awful. But I've also seen CPS, Child Protective Services, and I've heard a lot of cases. And my guess is that we're probably as good off without them as we are with them.
Oh, CPS, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, best I can tell.
Yeah, the thing about it is, if cops and DCYF weren't a thing, then things can be dealt with by the community in ways that currently, if you try to deal with something yourself, then you go to jail for trying to deal with a problem.
I've seen too many cases of like DCYF taking kids from people who have, slightly done something questionably wrong, and then leave kids with like people who are passed out on the floor from drugs and like living in squalor.
Yeah.
And the kids are being abused.
I think that seriously, I don't know if it's that their MO is to leave the kids with the worst situation possible, or if they just like, there are some kids they are like, yeah, we don't want that one because it's for whatever reason they don't want it.
Maybe they're like, well, this doesn't make fiscal sense. We can't really sell this one to somebody because it's damaged.
Yeah. So, There was a conversation in a Free Stater chat today where people were talking about DCYF, and one person said, DCYF will come and take your kids for no reason, and somebody else said, that doesn't seem right because like my sibling or something that is on drugs and has all kinds of problems, like DCYF won't do anything about them.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it might seem like they don't do anything. They just probably don't want those kids for some reason. Like they probably wanted like Jay Noon's kids because they're like unvaccinated and like
blonde hair, blue eyes.
Yeah.
Well,
sell
I think
those.
Also, the DCYF is the bureaucrats themselves want to be respected. Everybody wants respect in this world, right? And in many cases, when they're dealing with parents who are like, what are you talking about? So, I let him wear the same pants twice. Or, yeah, he walked to the store and back. He's 9 years old. He can do that. I was riding a bike in my neighborhood at 6 years old. Seems like a fair thing to do. Or whatever the situation was that the parent didn't sufficiently bow down to the bureaucrat. Now, it's possible. Certainly this isn't every case, but, people with power want to be respected for their power. And I think that in many cases, certainly in the case of Jay Noon, his wife isn't going to bow and scrape in front of some bureaucrat. She said, hey, yeah, I left my kid in the car while it was running, while I, went in quick and did something at the store. I don't know how long. It's a matter of contention. I would agree. You shouldn't leave your kid in a car for 3 hours, but leaving a kid in a car for 3 minutes shouldn't be a problem, right? So somewhere between in that 2 hours and 57 minutes is the cutoff point for me. And it certainly wasn't 3 hours.
Yeah. They say, Jay and Shallon, they say that it couldn't have been longer than 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's like 17 minutes is what the number I'd heard was just sort of speculated at.
Because they had a remote car thing that only did 15 minutes.
Oh, is that what it was?
And the cop said it was still on. So these people that were like, it was 40 minutes, they had to be lying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it was 12 minutes then, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Shows how my brain works.
It seems that it should be
there should be
camera somewhere,
right.
But I don't understand.
Well, in New Hampshire, we don't have as many cameras as they do in the rest of the United States.
That's true.
That is definitely true.
And if you have a camera in your vehicle, the police can demand to look at it. So, it's one of those things.
Wow.
It's evidence at that point.
I didn't know that either. It's annoying because I feel bad for even saying it like that, but whenever I would pull up to the prison, Ian would be like, why don't you have the camera hanging up anymore? And I'd be like, because it would always fall down because it was like a suction cup thing, so I just took it off. So he like is always trying to get me to put it back on, but it's like it would be like a whole effort.
Well, the issue could be that that you can't, the Fifth Amendment, right? That you don't have to provide evidence against yourself. So in that case, you may not have to provide it. However, if you witness an accident or something and you have footage, the police could demand to see the footage for the purposes of, clearing up the accident. I haven't heard of any cases like this. Mostly, the problem with cameras is that you're sitting in an Uber and somebody acts out in an Uber and gets put on social media and made a fool of.
Wow! Just yesterday, Uber George sent me a video where he was driving in, I guess it's Virginia or DC area or something, and some pedestrian walks in his lane when there's 2 lanes on either side of him. So like it's like a big road, like busy road, cars going everywhere. And a pedestrian walks out in front of his car, stops, is holding like a bag, and starts looking at their phone and just stands there. And you can hear his Uber passenger and him yelling out the window like, hey dude, can you get out of the way? And he's just like lollygagging, like kind of like milling about, but still just standing in the middle of the road in Uber George's way. I was like, you need to post this on
Send it to Sarah. These are the people that she wants to protect from getting hit by cars.
Exactly. That's what he said. He said these are the people Sarah is like rallying
Survival
for.
of the fittest in the crosswalk.
Mm-hmm.
That was crazy. He wasn't even in a crosswalk. He was just in the road in front of Uber George's car. And you could hear it's like Uber passenger like, what is wrong with you? Like, get out of the road. I'm saying that like so differently than they said it. He was like actually mad, like, get out of the way, like, stuff like that. But this guy just acted like he was like, whatever, and like slowly mills out of the way. Oh my God, people are just like going crazy. Like, if you're driving, people are driving crazier and crazier. Everyone's on drugs or something.
Everyone is on drugs. Like, what is it? 70% of under 40 or whatever are on some kind of prescription drug.
Huh?
Is that what it
Under
is?
40?
Under 40.
Under 40.
Yeah.
I guess like SSRIs.
SSRIs and like ADHD medications, and everybody's on drugs. Everyone's on drugs now.
Nobody in my household is.
Yeah, nobody in my household is either. None of us are on drugs.
The only drug I'm on recently is caffeine and Zyrtec.
Caffeine counts. I drink coffee.
Yeah, I've been having horrible allergies this season.
I'm a decaf drinker. You drug addicts.
Yeah, I'm drinking. I'm on drugs
I tried
right
it,
now.
but I can't find one that tastes as good. So
I do have a link.
Oh,
okay.
So
I'll take it.
We have Sarah in New Mexico on the line. So let's see if she's listening. Sarah, what's on your mind, Sarah?
Yes, I figured out why this year we have the free for all primary. The independents can vote. Well, it turns out if one person gets 51% or whatever, they get it. So the primary will be the last vote.
So if somebody in the primary gets 51% of the voters who are voting in, say, a Republican or a Democrat primary, they win the general election by default?
I think that's how I understood it. That's what I learned at the Bible study today.
Okay.
Well, more Free Talk Live is coming up, and you can call in with whatever is on your mind. 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. And we're talking about this insane story where a woman was put in Zoom court mid-giving birth. And you can bring up whatever's on your mind. More Free Talk Live coming up.
Some of you have wanted to support Free Talk Live's mission on a monthly basis, but don't want to support Patreon. Now we have an alternative that also helps our premier streaming platform, Odyssey. Visit video.freetalklive.com and click Join at the top of the channel. You can subscribe for $5 per month, and unlike other subscription services, Odyssey adds their processing fee on top, so it'll cost a little over $5 per month, but Free Talk Live will receive the entire amount you pledged. Higher donation tiers are available if you're feeling so inspired. You'll get a special membership badge that's visible in the Odyssey chat room, and if we get enough supporters, we may enable members-only chat. This new subscription method is a great way to decentralize our direct listener support away from just Patreon and also support a libertarian-run business, Odyssey. Please visit video.freetalklive.com and click Join to subscribe to our Odyssey channel and help support spreading our message around the planet. Visit video.freetalklive.com and click Join today.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless free market non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Nick Harper with the Week in Review. Much of the week was dominated with the continuing US-Iran conflict. The ceasefire remains despite a flare-up in tensions and an exchange of fire in the Strait of Hormuz. The US gave Iran a couple of days to weigh up a 14-point memorandum, a one-pager that could end the fighting. As FSN's Alistair D'Souza reports.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, while on a trip to Italy, says Iran's response is expected Friday. Rubio says he hopes serious negotiations then follow. The U.S. proposal is aimed at putting an immediate end to the fighting and opening up the Strait of Hormuz. A 30-day period of talks would then take place to address tough questions on Iran's nuclear program. Meanwhile, the fighting continued Thursday, marking the most intense military confrontation in weeks. U.S. President Trump insisting the ceasefire is very much in place.
The US and the Vatican have committed to improving bilateral ties after a fence-mending visit by Secretary of State Marco Rubio. His trip to Rome comes amid President Donald Trump's repeated broadsides against the leader of the Catholic Church, who's urged for peace in the Middle East. Ever since Tony Waterman sent this report from Washington.
It's an unusual assignment for Secretary Rubio to repair relations with the Vatican after his boss, President Trump, called the Pope weak and said the head of the Catholic Church supported Iran having a nuclear weapon. The State Department says Rubio and Pope Leo discussed the situation in the Middle East during his 2.5-hour visit to the Vatican, but didn't go into detail. Pope Leo, the first American pontiff, has been a vocal critic of Trump's war in Iran and his immigration policies. The trip was partly meant to help the White House shore up conservative Christian voters ahead of the midterms, a loyal Trump base upset with how he's treated the pontiff and memes the president has posted depicting himself as Jesus.
A U.S. federal trade court this week struck down President Donald Trump's global 10% tariff, declaring it illegal. The White House imposed the rate in February after the Supreme Court ruled against the administration's Liberation Day tariffs. Meanwhile, President Trump has set a July 4th deadline for the European Union to implement a trade deal brokered last summer. FSN's William Denslow sent this report from Brussels.
Despite having what he called a great call with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, President Trump announced that tariffs would soar should the trade agreement not be implemented by July 4th. Under the agreement, European goods would see duties largely capped at 15%, while the US would see tariffs on its products wiped out. The European Parliament and EU member states must still endorse the deal.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN. This week, a deadly hantavirus outbreak on board a cruise ship led to Spain giving the vessel permission to dock in the Canary Islands. 3 passengers have died on board since it set sail from Argentina across the Atlantic Ocean last month. Former passengers who left the ship at earlier ports have been advised to self-isolate. FSN's Stuart Smith reports from London.
146 people from 23 nations are still on board the ship, which has been anchored off the African island nation of Cape Verde for 3 days after being refused permission to disembark. It's now sailing to Spain's Canary Islands, from where passengers will return home after being checked if they're fit to travel. But the president of the Canary Islands has protested the plan. While the variant of the disease believed to be responsible for this outbreak is transmissible between humans, it requires much closer contact than flu or COVID-19. And the World Health Organization says there's no need for panic. Stuart Smith, London.
An explosion at a fireworks factory in central China this week killed at least 35 people. Chinese President Xi Jinping urged all-out efforts to search for people who were unaccounted for and to save the dozens of people who were injured in the explosion. FSN's Laura Westbrook sent this report from Hong Kong.
Online footage showed white smoke billowing high into the air at the explosion site, and there was also damage to homes at nearby villages. Footage showing that glass was shattered and some doors also broken at some homes at nearby villages. Also, residents reported that heavy rocks were blown onto the road. Around 480 personnel, including firefighters, rescuers and medical personnel, they have been on the scene.
And that's the Week in Review. That's Feature Story News. Nick Harper reporting.
Publicists everywhere agreed this week that the nation's celebrities are in dire need of more fame, stressing that all 6 billion of the world's populace should know every U.S. celebrity by name and face by now. Publicists are calling for an emergency influx of buzz, heat, press, and word of mouth to be administered to the nation's celebrities immediately in order to prevent crucial fame levels from becoming dangerously low. Novelist Edward Milligan told reporters this week that in his new book, By the Water's Edge, he has fleshed out in meticulous detail his own huge and stunningly shitty world. Using in-depth research and the power of his own imagination, Milligan was able to conjure out of thin air every hackneyed character, trite street name, and horseshit backstory in the fictional town of Connors Cove. The complete f***ing hack proudly said he has created a universe that readers will feel they can actually reach out and touch. Sources say the prolific writer has not yet been punched repeatedly in the face. In other news, McDonald's opens a new senior citizen play place.
This is the Onion News Network.
Got Telegram? You can follow our channel there and discuss show prep with other listeners at telegram.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
Welcome back to Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. That's 603-283-6160. You can call that number to bring up whatever is on your mind, 603-283-6160. And I'd like to thank Jack for being an amplifier with us here at Free Talk Live. That means that Jack went to amps.freetalklive.com and signed up to support the show. AMPS stands for Advertise, Market, Promote, and Support. Thanks to Jack and everyone who supports us. Again, that's amps.freetalklive.com if you'd like to check out the perks and benefits of becoming an amplifier with us here at Free Talk Live. And we really do appreciate everyone who's an amplifier with us. With you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie,
Lori,
and Mark.
And we were talking last segment on this Mother's Day edition of Free Talk Live about a woman who had the court come to her in her hospital bed while she was giving birth, which is just insane. Like, actually blows my mind. But there's more to the story, so let's get into it. ProPublica.org. Never heard of it before, but it says investigative journalism.
It's one of those sort of leftist sites.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw an article from them today talking about why babies are bleeding to death because no one's getting them the vitamin K shots anymore.
Oh my God.
But so I read through the article because I was like, do they mention at all that you can just give them oral drops instead? Yeah. And they did not at all anywhere in the article.
I thought you could also like put it in their eyes or something, the vitamin K, or am I thinking of something else?
That's the ophthalmologic ointment they put in there so they don't get any, like if you have an STD, you can't put it in their eyeballs, which I don't know why they just don't test the mothers.
This is so frustrating, right? Is the idea that everybody must be treated as though they have an STD.
Or are a junkie or whatever.
I'm really confident my wife going to a birthing center in rural New Hampshire didn't have an STD. Like I'm as confident as I could be, and as was she. And the idea that you're just going to do these things, and they're like, oh well, you can not do it if you want, but we just do it.
Yeah. Oh, it's for gonorrhea. I think that's what it is. Right. So they don't get gonorrhea in their eyes. Yeah. Like neither of my kids got the vitamin K shot. What I did, because babies don't have vitamin K stores. They're born without stores of vitamin K, and it can cause them to bleed to death. And there's very little in breast milk that
you should just cut them right away.
Right. So what they do is they give them a vitamin K shot, which has 1,000 times more than they need, because they say that it's going to get stored in their liver and be released slowly over time for the next 3 months until they can start making their own vitamin K. But you can just, instead of giving them 1,000 times more than they need, give them oral drops of vitamin K every day, a little bit like a normal human dosage would be what they need. But they don't want you to do that. They want you to get the shot.
Interesting.
The
Which
$1,000
hurts,
shot.
and it's
Because
like-
they don't trust. Well, I think they just don't trust people
Sure.
to actually do it
because the presumption is that every woman they're dealing with is a junkie.
Yes, or an idiot. Like they think because society's been so infantilized, nobody is capable of doing anything for themselves unless they're handheld and told what to do, which I guess is kind of true for a lot of people now
Maybe.
at this point.
Yeah.
But I have more faith in more people being able to handle their lives, I guess. I maybe stupidly have
I think
faith in
that
people.
I think that what we're talking about here is that it is so, right? There are some people who absolutely cannot handle motherhood. And motherhood comes on to some women really early. I mean, I've got an 18-year-old. I'll be surprised if that kid can do anything, right? I mean, like it just seems like, well, as an 18-year-old, it just doesn't seem like he can do anything. Foolish is the term that comes to mind over and over again when I watch what goes on. But I understand that the way you learn in many cases is consequences, so I keep my mouth shut. But I'm just like, wow, this is frustrating. But at the same time, my wife was 35 or something when she had her first child. One of the most competent people I've ever met in my life.
Right.
Yeah. I think she can handle it, guys.
Right. Yeah. And like they give kids the hepatitis B shot, or the moment they're born.
Right.
They just give it to them. Like, my kid's not out there shooting up in an alley and having unprotected sex. What do they need a hepatitis B vaccine for? Because they think that I am out in an alley?
This woman I would talk to.
Virus, right?
Right.
I talked to this woman at Liberty Forum, and she had just given birth a year before, and we're just talking about the medical system in general being like so crazy and corrupt and all the stuff they were trying to steal my ovary and all that stuff. And she was telling me that she had a fight with her OBGYN or whatever about the hepatitis B shot for her baby, because she was like, I don't want that for my baby because I don't have hepatitis and there's just no reason. And the doctor's actual answer was, well, they could crawl and accidentally get stung or stabbed by a hepatitis.
Where do you think I'm taking
that's
my
what
kid?
she had to say. She said she had to get offended before the doctor relent.
You know what's a great place to go have lunch with your kids is down in the back alley where all the homeless bums are sleeping, and
especially
stuff.
your babies.
Yeah,
while
when they're
just crawling.
teething, they could just chew on a little Fent. It's fine.
Yeah, I hate going off on this particular topic because it can often make me sound like a kook. But the fact is that when you're talking about many of the vaccines out there, whether they're effective or not is completely not my conversation. Every medical procedure has a risk. So when you take let's use polio. This is a terrible disease, and you definitely don't want to get polio. And if you're going to go into rural Afghanistan, you should have the polio shot.
Yeah.
If you're going to spend some time out in the jungles of West Africa, you should have a polio shot.
Right. Just like if you're rehabbing wild animals, you go get a rabies shot. But the average person in America is not going out to get their rabies shot because they don't need it, because they're not exposed to such a thing.
These are the kind of reasons why I did choose to get my dog vaccinated, which is let's talk about this on Mother's Day and have somebody call in about how you're not a dog mom or whatever.
You birthed Coconut.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw it. I was there.
So the thing is, he actually is a lot more likely to run into some kind of animal pee and get a nasty disease. So I got him the vaccine for that. Or rabies, we might be walking and a skunk decides to attack him or something.
Well,
but I don't think I'm likely to need that.
I fall into the same category. The dogs get all their shots.
Yeah.
The kid gets any shot that at this point, he's 18 years old. He gets to decide which shots he's going to get and which ones he doesn't want to get. And he has to deal with the consequences, just like I do. I went diving in 2020 when I was in Saipan. I cut my hand on I got a piece of rusty metal from a World War II Japanese bomber in my hand, and it's salt water, so it probably doesn't have tetanus on it.
I don't know.
I went.
Maybe
it hurt, and I went to the hospital, and I don't know, is this bad? I don't know what went on here. It doesn't look good. The doctor's like, I don't know what to do about this either. We don't have a lot of cases of stabbed saltwater hands.
Yeah.
But I can give you a tetanus shot. And I'm like, do you recommend a tetanus shot? He's like, I always recommend a tetanus shot. And I was like, what's the risk of the tetanus shot? And he's like, nothing. Okay, give me a tetanus shot. So I chose to get a tetanus shot, I guess now 6 years ago. And Jack will have to make those same decisions himself one day. But I don't, when it comes to making medical decisions, I'm pretty careful. And I'm of the opinion, we were just talking about polio, I'm of the opinion that the chances of a kid from rural New Hampshire catching polio is remarkably small, and therefore whatever risk there is to the vaccine is probably greater.
Yeah.
My aunt that convinced my mom to stop vaccinating us, and so all my siblings younger than me got no vaccinations, and I got what I think is vitamin K and hepatitis, the ones that you're talking about.
Do you think you're slower than your other siblings?
No, I think I'm faster than but so my aunt that convinced my mom and dad to stop vaccinating us, she never vaccinated her kids, and they actually got measles, and they got over it. No, not at all.
Okay.
And they were sick, and then they weren't, like every other sickness. I understand that the point is that people will freak out about is like, they could have gotten other kids measles, and it's like herd immunity. It's like, okay, your vaccine isn't...
Some people die from measles. Very, very few, but some people do.
Everybody dies of something.
And it's, it's a decision that the family makes. And this is the point, is that here, you have to start from my position, which is nobody listening to me is a good parent. Nobody is as good of a parent as my wife is, right? Like I've sat there, I've watched it. That lady's a good parent. And anybody who makes a decision that is different than her decision, I'm pretty sure isn't a good parent. And this, I think, is how everybody is.
Oh.
Like they all just sit there and say, I'm the better parent. Because I have, as a parent, heard a lot of people who don't mind armchair quarterbacking somebody else's parenting. And I get it. I do it too. It's pretty easy. When you see all the nonsense that goes on in the world, you say, well, better parenting would have fixed that. I'm not entirely sure it's true. I think that kind of half of it is just nature. This is a savanna ape walking around in a concrete jungle, and we're trying to get by. But yeah, I don't think anybody's really qualified. And this is where the doctors in this case are coming from. This woman isn't qualified to make a medical decision. I went to med school for 8 years and did internships and all these things. I can't believe she's second guessing my diagnosis for a cesarean section. And
I actually know
I
someone
want to
that
be home
had
for dinner.
Like a uterine abruption, or I think that's the word it is that they're talking about. Like her uterus broke open, so the baby could have, instead of coming out, went out of that opening into her stomach cavity, so she had to have a C-section.
This is a possibility, or it did happen?
The person I know,
okay,
there was an opening in her uterus.
That's terrifying.
So the second baby she had like no choice. They're like, you can't try to have a vaginal birth, you just get a C-section.
And I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. If, okay, that's fine. But I also think that it should be left up to the woman.
Right,
I'm kind of the opinion that, why not get the C-section? But it's not my business. I'm not going to tell people how to live their lives. That's what control freaks, busybodies, and a-holes do.
Yeah.
See,
and I'm not one of those.
The C-section is a major surgery event, though. And giving birth to a baby is like a thing that your body knows how to do. So that's why not get the C-section. I see it from her point of view, like, just let your body do the thing.
Well, this woman, that's why I was asking at the beginning. I wasn't trying to defend the doctors. I was just like,
no.
Did they have some reason to think that? Because my friend, she was pushing and like problems were happening. I don't know if it was like beeping from the baby's heartbeat was like freaking out, and they figured it out. They figured out what was going on. They rushed her to get a C-section. Not against her will, like she had to say yes, but like that wasn't what she wanted, and turned out she actually had an abruption, or whatever it's called, like her uterus.
Placental abruption, maybe.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of, but it was her actual uterus.
Uterine rupture.
Yeah.
Awful.
It's horrifying thing that doesn't happen to many people at all. But it did happen to this lady. So I'm just saying, like, obviously she was like grateful she was at a hospital. You know what I mean? Like, or a place where there were professionals around that wanted to, or knew what was going on, and basically saved her life.
The vaccine thing that you were just talking about, last night I watched a documentary called Inconvenience Study. And it was a study done by a doctor at Henry Ford Hospital. And they gathered all the data that they could and like made it so as even as possible, like the patients were as even as possible within all of the categories, like all male and all from whatever had this amount of doctor visits, and studied vaccinated and unvaccinated children, and the vaccinated children came out more sick in the end. Like they followed up like 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, and they came out to have many more health problems than the unvaccinated children, like autoimmune diseases and stuff like that. And the guy who did the study from Henry Ford Hospital won't publish the study because he says he's going to get, he's going to come under fire and he's going to lose his job and all this stuff. The guy who made the documentary wore like a hidden camera to have a conversation with him and recorded it. And one of the things that I found out during this documentary is that when they do these vaccine safety studies, they don't test them for safety against a placebo. What they do is they test it against their previous vaccine. So you'll never know if it's causing problems, because if the last vaccine caused problems and this one causes problems, then you'll see no new problems. It'll just be the same problems that the last vaccine had.
I've heard this accusation against vaccines for some time, and what I can say is sort of anecdotal, right? I've only had one kid, and that kid hasn't received any vaccines that I can think of. Maybe there was a situation with a tetanus shot. I don't even know. But he didn't. So in his case, he's been rarely sick.
Yeah.
Sniffles.
Yeah, my kids aren't
things
vaccinated.
like that.
They have not been sick.
Now, I can't say, there's other kids seem sicker, but that's because you hear about, I don't know. But I've heard this accusation that for whatever reason, kids that get vaccines are often sort of have an autoimmune issue.
Yeah,
that
the
kind of goes along.
hypothesis is that like the vaccine, while it's protecting you from this terrible thing.
Polio. I think is a great example.
That no one's getting.
This is a terrible disease that nobody gets
that nobody's getting anymore. It's damaging you through all of the adjuncts that they're adding to it, like the benzoyl peroxide and like all these things that they're adding to the vaccine, that's causing injuries, the heavy metals, things like that, causing autoimmune disorders and mental disorders, ADHD and things like that.
And if you're going to make a decision not to vaccinate your kid, I think you should do your research.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think that it, just to go against the medical establishment for the purposes of being, bombastic, I don't think that's a good idea. But if you've done your research and you come to a conclusion that is different than the doctor's or different than my own, I think it's your body, it's your family, it's your life. You get to decide.
Yeah. The no safety testing against a placebo is the part that really is shocking to me, that these have not been truly safety tested against a placebo, because it's unethical, which I don't understand, because if you consensually do this study, if I say, yeah, sure, I'll get my kid vaccinated with either a real vaccine or a placebo to study the effectiveness of this vaccine, how is that unethical? I'm agreeing. This is consent.
I suppose that the issue would be that people that opt out of vaccines may be constitutionally more healthy than people who don't, right? Like you could see how somebody who's sick their whole life might say to themselves, hey, my kids definitely have to get vaccines because I hate being sick. Whereas somebody who rarely gets sick might say, I don't think that there's much of a chance of little Jimmy getting polio or smallpox, so I'm going to skip the vaccines.
Right.
So I mean, it could be. I guess that's what they're trying to say is that they don't want to mess. It would be unfair to their study. I get the unethical part. That's a cop out.
Yeah, that's a cop out.
But it might be unfair to their study if the healthy people opt into the non-vaccine group. But I would agree with you completely is that there are some people who are going to choose not to get vaccines. Put them in your control group. There are going to be people who choose to get vaccines for their kids. And study against those and find out what happens.
Yeah,
because I'm pretty sure what we're going to find out is that we have 0 cases of polio for American children.
Right. The vaccine schedule now is 72 shots.
Yes.
That's insane.
It's crazy.
That's way too many shots. Why are you taking a new person to this world and just shoving all of these diseases into them?
Yeah.
And a quick shout out to the Rotary Club for eliminating polio. I think that it's great that they
What does that mean? What is the Rotary Club? I've always wondered what this was.
I thought it was just like a bunch of little old ladies or something.
It's little old men.
Okay.
It is a networking group of businessmen who have gotten together for usually breakfast or lunch once a week or once a month, depending on the situation, to hear a speaker speak on a topic.
Mm-hmm.
And they decided that it'd be better if they were also a service club.
Okay.
So, as is the service club, what they decided to do was to eliminate polio. Polio is a terrible disease.
Yeah.
Right? It's awful. And they figured, well, for X number of dollars, we can eliminate polio in America by making free vaccines available to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And they did. And they decided that wasn't enough. Now let's chase it out of the Americas. And then they did.
What does that mean, chased it out?
Basically, they just made polio vaccines available, made it so ubiquitous. The pressure that mothers feel to get vaccines has its social value, in so much as we were talking about these adult children that can't make their own decisions. And in those cases, I kind of want them to get the vaccine. Mothers that can make a decision of their own and are willing to stand up against the medical establishment, I think that they should be able to
I just
stand
wish that
up.
there was like actual competition in the vaccines themselves. It's like, what if I want to get a vaccine only made in India that is the polio vaccine but doesn't have all this extra junk? It's like I don't have that choice in America.
Well, a big problem
I'm
too
not
is
saying
that
that exists.
is that the government takes the liability off of the vaccine companies.
Yes,
That's
It's a huge problem.
A huge problem.
We do have a
Like
caller.
you have no recourse.
I think I should let the caller talk because we summoned him. It's Uber George in Virginia. Thanks for holding. What's on your mind, Uber George?
Hey, has Sarah in New Mexico called yet tonight about more pedestrian safety BS?
She called, but I had mentioned your story, which you could totally tell the story. And I said, yeah, those are the people that Sarah is out there, like promoting, protecting. And she called in right after, and it's like she wasn't listening at all. She just wanted to talk about elections. So what do you want to say about it, Uber George?
Well, I guess I don't know what you said yesterday because I haven't had a chance to say to listen to the show. But basically, I was on an Uber run in downtown D.C. and it's like I was stopped at this light on L Street, and this guy with his phone just walks out into the middle of the street, right in front of my car, just as my light is going green, and he's not responding at all. I'm honking at him. He's just like, whatever, like in his own world, essentially, just blocking my traffic. My own Uber driver, rolled down the window, was yelling at him. I'm just like, this is the kind of guy that Sarah's trying to protect, because I think he's one of those people who's just deliberately trying to get himself run over so he can do a lawsuit.
Maybe.
Yeah, this was my question. Now, you'll pardon my bias here, George, but I'm a small town guy. I don't like the big city, and when I go to the big city,
I agree. I'm with you.
I'm uncomfortable. Is this a hobo? Is this a crazy person? What?
No, this was one of those. He looked like I'd say in his 30s. Fairly clean cut. He didn't look homeless.
Okay.
He had a bag of food. He looked like he had a bag of food that had been Ubered to him, or like he went and picked it up. Yeah, and he had he looked like he could be working in a tech job, something like that. He was not like a hobo.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw his video.
Yeah.
Curious.
If you have more to say,
show him the video. Show Mark the video, Bonnie, right there, because that guy's just wild.
Post it on our Twitter feed.
Yeah, definitely post it. If you have more to say, you can stay on, Uber George. More Free Talk Live coming up. 603-283-6160 is the phone number. That's 603-283-6160. More Free Talk Live coming up.
This hour of Free Talk Live is brought to you by Dash Digital Cash. Dash is the cryptocurrency designed to be used for spending. In addition to being one of the world's first cryptocurrencies, Dash was the first crypto project to have a decentralized autonomous organization that to this day continues to improve and promote Dash. Every month, 10% of the mining rewards go into a treasury. Anyone with one Dash to spend can put forward a proposal to the Dash masternodes. The masternodes vet the proposals and decide which ones move forward and are funded by that treasury. Nowadays, DAOs are plentiful, but Dash paved the way by doing it first, nearly a decade ago. Dash is one of the oldest cryptocurrencies and is widely available on exchanges, including the decentralized Maya protocol, and in multi-crypto wallets. It's easy to get and use Dash. Start by learning more at dash.org. Thanks to the Dash DAO for sending us 32 Dash per month to promote Dash on the air. Visit dash.org to learn about Dash. Dash.org.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Nick Harper with the Week in Review. Much of the week was dominated with the continuing US-Iran conflict. The ceasefire remains despite a flare-up in tensions and an exchange of fire in the Strait of Hormuz. The US gave Iran a couple of days to weigh up a 14-point memorandum, a one-pager that could end the fighting. As FSN's Alistair D'Souza reports.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, while on a trip to Italy, says Iran's response is expected Friday. Rubio says he hopes serious negotiations then follow. The U.S. proposal is aimed at putting an immediate end to the fighting and opening up the Strait of Hormuz. A 30-day period of talks would then take place to address tough questions on Iran's nuclear program. Meanwhile, the fighting continued Thursday, marking the most intense military confrontation in weeks, U.S. President Trump insisting the ceasefire is very much in place.
The US and the Vatican have committed to improving bilateral ties after a fence-mending visit by Secretary of State Marco Rubio. His trip to Rome comes amid President Donald Trump's repeated broadsides against the leader of the Catholic Church, who's urged for peace in the Middle East. Ever since Tony Waterman sent this report from Washington.
It's an unusual assignment for Secretary Rubio to repair relations with the Vatican after his boss, President Trump, called the Pope weak and said the head of the Catholic Church supported Iran having a nuclear weapon. The State Department says Rubio and Pope Leo discussed the situation in the Middle East during his 2.5-hour visit to the Vatican, but didn't go into detail. Pope Leo, the first American pontiff, has been a vocal critic of Trump's war in Iran and his immigration policies. The trip was partly meant to help the White House shore up conservative Christian voters ahead of the midterms, a loyal Trump base upset with how he's treated the pontiff and memes the president has posted depicting himself as Jesus.
A U.S. federal trade court this week struck down President Donald Trump's global 10% tariff, declaring it illegal. The White House imposed the rate in February after the Supreme Court ruled against the administration's Liberation Day tariffs. Meanwhile, President Trump has set a July 4th deadline for the European Union to implement a trade deal brokered last summer. FSN's William Denslow sent this report from Brussels.
Despite having what he called a great call with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, President Trump announced that tariffs would soar should the trade agreement not be implemented by July 4th. Under the agreement, European goods would see duties largely capped at 15%, while the US would see tariffs on its products wiped out. The European Parliament and EU member states must still endorse the deal.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
Our Matrix server is about as free as internet chat can be. Join the existing rooms or create your own at chat.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. That means that you can call 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160 to get in on the conversation with us. And with you tonight, you've got me, Bonnie, on
Lori.
Free Talk Live.
And Mark Edge. I'm back in the studio. Love being here at Free Talk Live. And I started working with a company called Salt Lending. And what Salt will do is they'll give you a loan against your cryptocurrency. They mostly do the major ones, but if you've got a top 125 crypto and you've got enough of it and the loan to value is right, they'll talk to you about a loan against whatever the crypto is. But I think this is a great system, and this is kind of what like Elon Musk does in order to not pay tax, is he'll take a loan out against shares of, say, Tesla or SpaceX or whatever the situation might be. And that loan, usually low interest because it's completely backed by something of value, that loan isn't taxable. This is true with SALT lending too. When you take a loan against your cryptocurrency, say your Bitcoin, I don't think you should be selling Bitcoin right now. I don't recommend it. Now, your opinion may differ, and that's fine. But I feel like we've hit the bottom of winter and we're climbing our way back up to a higher price. I think it'll go above 125 in the next couple of years. And if you feel the same way as I do, then probably you want to hold on to your cryptocurrency rather than selling it. Well, in this way, you can access the value of your cryptocurrency without selling. If you want to move forward, please send me an email. Again, I'm working with SALT, so it's salt@markedge.org. It's just send me an email, salt@markedge.org. I'll set up a time to talk to you, and we'll get you started.
Excellent. That's great. salt@markedge.org.
Thank you.
On this Mother's Day edition of Free Talk Live, we've been talking about a horrible story, and I didn't want to like just stay on it excessively long if there wasn't anything else to it, but there actually is like interesting details here from this article from ProPublica.org. This woman who was giving birth, she was suggested to, or she was recommended, the doctors recommended to her that she should have a C-section because they were concerned about uterine rupture, I think it was that they said, and they didn't give any reason as to why. She was just like happily going along in her labor for a few more hours when all of a sudden doctors came up and told her, hey, look at this tablet, you're on Zoom. Real court. She was actually in an actual court hearing with a judge over Zoom while in labor on a hospital bed. This is just so insane. And this woman who's writing the article said she's been an investigative reporter in Alabama, and recently the state of Alabama's fetal personhood policy has caused all kinds of problems because it gives fetuses the same legal status as children, and that's crazy. The definition of the word children doesn't include fetus. Did you know that? Because the other day I was just sitting there thinking, and I was like, Republicans like to misuse the word children. They'll call an 18-year-old a child and also a fetus. And like according to the definition, it's from birth to, what they'll say is 18, till puberty. That's what child actually means. Like even a 15-year-old's not a child.
Doesn't seem like it to me.
Yeah, because then you're a teenager.
The idea that there's just no difference between a 5-year-old and 15-year-old that like some crazy people like to pretend is just stupid.
Throughout human history, what we've called 16-year-olds is biological adults.
Yeah. Young adult.
Yeah, young adult, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I get that the modern world is way more complicated than things used to be, but that doesn't mean that people aren't able to, they got to make their own decisions.
Lots of ancient cultures didn't believe that babies were alive or maybe alive is the wrong word, but like humans or have rights until like a certain time after birth even. Like in Rome, I think it was something like 8 days after birth or, days after birth. But in some cultures, it was like a couple years or a year or something.
Right.
But I think it's because a lot of them died.
Like, what's the reasoning?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand that.
You would think like at first breath or then like some other... Like when you gain conscious that you are a separate human, which is like
at first
3 or 4.
Because it's like, it's the first time you've done something, first time you've done a specific thing that you can like count on or, like give put a pin in, if that makes sense. And also it's like the day you're born, your birth chart has to mean something. So if you've just been the same soul,
Bonnie says so.
We've moved to zodiac signs now.
It has to mean something.
All right.
It did to them. We were talking about the ancient people, so
It's true.
I like the idea that it would be the day that you're born. It doesn't really make sense to wait 8 days. Like, you don't go off your birth chart like 8 days after you're born.
Well, you can't know when somebody was conceived. Certainly not before, recently. So it would be very difficult to figure that out. But I do know that, like the Vietnamese, there was a Vietnamese kid at my bus stop who would talk about we count numbers differently because they count the 9 months in the womb or something. So I guess different cultures choose to do different things.
Well, people closer to the equator were less likely to leave their kids to exposure because, like, say you had a kid with 15 arms. Well, if you live at the equator, you have so much food, you're like, I'll keep it, see what happens. And, like, it won't put your other kids in danger. Now, if you live in Norway, you trying to feed that kid is going to put your other kids in danger because you have less resources.
Because you're always under caloric stress in Norway. Gotcha.
Yeah. So I don't know, maybe Thailand is like, they're more accepting of children. Accepting sounds like a bad term, but I just mean like they're more, like this is just as human as anyone else and has all these rights or whatever.
Yeah, the idea that a mother or a community would abandon a child is really taboo to talk about, but obviously this happened. Now, you're allowed to talk about Spartans for whatever reason and them doing it, because Spartans are generally considered almost villains.
Yeah, they did it kind of the worst, though. They would be like, this is a girl, we don't want it. Like
China?
the Norwegians, they weren't doing that. They were doing like,
sure, girls are more valuable.
Yeah, right? It doesn't even make any sense.
I mean, if you've ever had livestock, it's the females that you want to keep. The males you neuter and sell for meat.
Yeah, unless you're trying to build an army.
Yes.
And then you want the boys.
I've never tried to invade another pig farm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyways.
I do have pictures of me riding one, though.
Riding a pig?
Yeah.
That's
brave.
Scary, yeah. Those things kind of scare me, honestly.
Me too. You fall down, they might eat you.
The little ones are so cute.
Okay, so they... yes, if you leave pigs in a in a herd of 300 and you never go in the pen and you never interact with them, they are terrifying and dangerous. Most pigs that are slaughtered for bacon or whatever are slaughtered at 120 to 150 pounds, somewhere in there, 180 pounds, thereabouts. Whereas when you raise a market hog, this is the way, Ebenezer and Elijah used to raise their pigs, right? The old timies. You try to get about 250 to 280.
While they're still young.
Much bigger animal.
Bigger.
Much bigger animal.
Okay.
And the reason is because that's about where they grow to. Now, when you're talking about a sow who's giving birth, she's probably going to start at 350. That's a big animal.
Huge.
Yeah. So... yes, you can get eaten by a herd of pigs, and certainly there's a news story probably every decade in the United States of that happening. However, I never had any fear. Now, Jack didn't go into the pen by himself.
Yeah.
I didn't let my child go into the pen by himself because...
good idea.
Yeah.
Smaller person.
Yeah, smaller.
Yeah, Jay was showing me his pig. It was one female large pig and a whole bunch of babies, and they seem to understand what you're saying to them.
Pigs are smart.
They're not
They're
like
smarter
idiots.
Than dogs.
It was looking at Jay like waiting for him to say something, and he's like saying, "Hey, whatever the pig's name is, this is Bonnie," and it looks at me like it's
hilarious.
It's like okay, this is Bonnie, and then he's like, "We're coming to look at the baby, so calm down and everything," and she just looks like she's like, "All right," and goes and lays down and like wasn't freaked out anymore when she had come up to be like in front of the babies at first. Like it genuinely felt like she knew everything he was saying.
There's a quote by Churchill, and I'm certainly not going to get it exactly right, but it's something to the effect of, dogs admire us, cats expect us to admire them. Pigs treat us as equals.
Yeah, that seriously felt like that. And all the little baby pigs, they had their own personalities, and they were all interested in coconut, which they were all like the same size. So cute. I was like, just one more year. Yeah, he was interested in them too. But anyways, I just think that like pigs are just so smart and cute and everything, but also really scary when they get really big.
And tasty. Yes, they
my
are.
youngest's favorite animal is pigs.
Oh, yeah.
She loves pigs.
I wouldn't even say tasty. I don't like pork chops. Ian's favorite thing I make is pork chops. I don't know why I can be good at making something that I don't like. The taste of it's nasty to me. Bacon is just okay. I'm sorry. It's not like I could live the rest of my life without bacon.
Sausage is like fantastic, though.
It's probably the best thing you make
It's
out
the
of pig.
best
And it's because
pork.
it's like you can make it breakfasty with like the sage and all that stuff that is really, changes it up a lot. It's not just like, oh, pork, the flavor of pork. And whenever, like, anytime I eat something that's ham, it's like, really sweet, like with a glaze on it or whatever. I just don't understand. Just like, I like the taste of pork. I don't, but you do?
Oh, I do. Yes, absolutely. I'll add to that as a former pig farmer that if God intended us to eat one mammal, that mammal was a pig.
Whoa.
A pig can go from basically, the size of your hand to 280 pounds from May to December.
Wow, that's fast.
Right. I mean, this
Wow.
animal just puts on weight. And that is relatively lean pork, depending on the breed that you get. Some breeds were, were bred for fat because back before you lubricated bearings with, petrol, or then before that it was whale fat. Before that it was pig fat. And fat has its uses. Oil has its uses.
We don't have pig milk. We don't drink pig milk.
No.
In fact, now that I think of it, it's like, why not? Is there some good reason?
I would presume because cows are better at producing milk than pigs are.
Yeah, cows and goats. I think goats were the first, right? The first milkers that people had.
The goats a lot easier and cheaper to keep.
And cows are a fairly new invention. Like cows, the way they are, don't exist in nature, but goats do. So I'm sure that goats were the first ones. And then they looked at a cow and they were like, well, if a goat could make all that milk, I bet a cow could do better. And then somebody made the cow.
I wonder if there's something like about toxins with pigs, because I know that like they don't have like a normal toxin escape route, so like it comes through their hands. So maybe it has something to do with like.
Don't pigs sweat?
I don't know, honestly.
Do pigs sweat? So. They don't sweat?
I honestly just don't know. Like I know that they have like literally like open things that like on their wrists basically that release nasty stuff.
What?
Yeah, I don't know if you
did
can
not
see
know
it
about
or
this.
if it's like microscopic.
I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Okay, but whatever. I was just
wasn't
saying.
a pig biologist, just a pig farmer.
I was like, maybe there's something nasty about their milk because I'd never even like thought in my life.
Well,
like,
they don't have udders. They can't produce it quantity.
Okay, well, I guess that's all there is to it.
Nobody
then.
wants.
They get full.
Yeah, they got boobies.
Yeah.
Like not udders though.
Like a cat or something.
Right.
I can tell you how to humanely dispatch one, but I can't tell you much more than that.
Okay. So, weird segue. I can't think of any way to segue it either. But this lady, she's in Florida having a baby when all of a sudden.
Alabama.
Oh no, she was in Florida. The journalist just brings up Alabama and it kind of throws confusion into this.
Okay.
She just said that these two women had similar stories.
I see.
Therese Doyley and Brianna Bennett, who experienced eerily similar situations in Florida. In both cases, they found themselves fighting for their rights to make medical decisions because they were pregnant. And it's like, I think that this writer should even like hammer home that like it wasn't just being pregnant. Like this woman was in the like having contractions, going to give birth imminently, like in the hospital in labor.
Yeah.
I obtained a video recording of Doyley's court hearing, the writer says. Watching her argue her case from her hospital bed shocked me. Sick. Even though courts have found time and time again that you can't force someone to undergo medical treatment even if it could save someone else's life, the video underscored for me how pregnant women are the rare exception. In several states, judges have ruled pregnant patients can be forced to receive blood transfusions or remain on bed rest if it is in the best interest of the fetus. In Doyley's case, a court would force her to undergo surgery. ProPublica has already investigated how abortion restrictions can lead to pregnant women being denied life-saving care. Experts worry that the opposite problem, forced treatment, could also become more common in states like Florida that have fetal personhood policies. Oh, okay, so I think she brought up Alabama just to say Alabama and Florida both have these fetal personhood policies in their state, which means that they consider the fetus to have all of the rights that a regular human does. I mean, obviously a fetus is a human. Like that is like a DNA thing. But
yeah, I think they're humans, but I don't think they have full personhood.
Yeah, personhood. So Doily signed a waiver allowing the hospital to discuss her case with ProPublica, but a spokesperson for University of Florida Health in Jacksonville would not comment, citing patient privacy. By sharing and examining Doily's case with her consent, we aim to show you what forced medical treatment can look like. And so, yeah, then they talk about the video there. And you could go watch the video at this article, but it says, you can see the confusion on Doily's face as she realizes she's being taken to court over her medical decisions. She asks for a lawyer or at least a patient advocate. Florida courts don't require lawyers for pregnant women in hearings about their medical decisions.
Whoa.
And the hospital didn't provide an advocate, so Doily had to go it alone.
That's crazy.
This is all crazy.
Yeah, the idea that you're having a court case at your hospital
I would throw
bed
the Zoom tablet
in labor is crazy.
And then not provided any type of
consent.
No type of legal counsel.
You don't know if you can consent.
Right.
You have no clue. I mean, this is a doula, not a lawyer, that's behind the camera here, or in front of the camera.
Yep. It says Judge Michael Khalil, I don't know, was on the call in his black robe and explained how the hearing would work. Doily, a black woman, was lying in a hospital bed, hooked up to IVs and monitors and covered by a sheet. She was surrounded on the screen by nearly a dozen doctors and lawyers, most of them white. Oh my God. Doily is black.
Unnecessary.
If it matters.
Well, I don't know that it's unnecessary in this circumstance because she could feel pressured in some way.
I guess.
I mean, I guess if I'm sitting there and for whatever reason in some foreign country and like I can see in this instance, I am also of the opinion that generally we don't need to throw race into the mix, but I think that in some circumstances I can see it.
Yeah. Doily, the woman that was giving birth when she had a Zoom call court hearing, is a black woman. The judge and most of the other people in the picture that's showing here are white. I don't know. It might make some people feel a certain kind of way because I know that I guess it's true that black people often have worse outcomes in hospitals, and there's at least a theory that it's due to people having, like, if you're being taken care of by somebody who's not the same race as you, then they're not going to feel the same way about you as they would to somebody their own race, and therefore, like, if you're a minority in the area where you're giving birth or something, then you're gonna have worse outcomes because people taking care of you are a different race than you. So I guess it could be relevant here. So Judge Michael Khalil was on the call with his black robe. Sorry, I already read that. And all of these people, most of whom were white, offered a lot of testimony about what could happen to Doily's baby if she continued to refuse a C-section. Dr. Erin Burnett said during the hearing that she did not think Doily could successfully give birth vaginally. But that's why I'm asking this. I'm like, was there something that was tipping these people off? Because, like, I almost would say, maybe not all of this is called for, but if it was like, hey, in 99 out of 100 cases when X, Y, and Z are happening, you have a uterine rupture, and that's crazy. Like, maybe this woman should be listening, but
maybe she should listen, but I still don't think, even in that case, even if it's 99 out of 100 times, I still don't think they should be able to force
her, yeah,
to get any kind of anything.
I agree.
If you want to die, like, take your chance and die, then that should be your choice.
I feel like that's your religious and moral right in the United States, is to refuse medical treatment of some sort because for whatever reason you feel like it's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
I completely agree, by the way.
I don't know anything more than you know from this story, but I mean, it just, I can see why the doctor might be adamant. I can see why they might want to absolve themselves of any responsibility in the situation. However, I'm of the opinion that a person should be able to make their own informed medical decision.
Earlier in the article, it said that pregnant women could be forced to get blood transfusions. How would they handle that if it was a Jehovah's Witness?
That's why I think...
Because they cannot.
That's what I thought of too. So I was like, that must be why that went to court. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that must be. I don't know, but...
So I'm curious how that played out, because are they going to not only overrule your bodily autonomy, but also your religious freedom?
I guess so in that case. Which is crazy. But I'm just saying, as a moral, like, what should be done here, if I'm just thinking, like, what should you do if you're told that like most likely your baby is going to die, but like they have good reason and they're explaining it to you and they're informing you. I think like it makes like not just makes most sense, like you have like a duty to your baby and yourself to not like just be like, no, I'm doing it the way I want because I want to and I don't care if I die. But I'm not saying that you should be forced or anything like that. But that's the thing. We are not told why these people think she did not think Doily could successfully give birth vaginally. Like it's just not answering that. You know what I mean? Like if it's like there are these 14 biometric markers that were like all lighting up red.
Right. It's 11 a.m. on Super Bowl Sunday,
Exactly.
and we don't think she can give birth vaginally successfully. We don't know, and that's the thing is that when you're dealing with people, there's just not a way to know what's coloring their advice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd like to know what date it was. I scrolled up to see maybe if it said like, oh, on blah 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 date, because we discussed this on the show before. We're looking up like how common each of our birthdays was. And mine is mid-pack, by the way. Just so boring. It's like I would like to know if it was really common, really.
What are the really
mid-pack.
uncommon birthdays?
Yours is really uncommon.
February the 16th is uncommon?
Yeah, but the most uncommon ones are all holidays. I don't know why yours is uncommon. Maybe like something about being even close to Valentine's Day.
I would think it would be for the reason, probably for this very reason. What we're talking about is doctors don't want to give birth on holidays, and that's probably nothing to do with the health of the mom. And this is what is coloring this whole conversation for me is I just don't trust these people to tell the truth when it comes to whether, I mean, if it's important that a child is born vaginally, and if you talk to these ladies, these doulas, these midwives, these people that are into this stuff, they will tell you it's very important. It doesn't seem important to me, but I'm not a woman. You shouldn't listen to me when it comes to birth.
It lowers some problems in the baby because you transfer bacterial flora to them during the birth.
That I've heard.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of cool.
Digestive problems that babies can have and stuff like that.
We clearly evolved to give birth, not to have C-sections.
Right, not to get cut open.
But I think they're pretty successful as C-sections right now, and I just think the doctors are being lazy.
Yeah, I think that they're successful and like the failure rate of a C-section is low, but they're extremely hard on the mother. There's a lot of rehabilitation that you have to do. Like they cut your stomach muscles open and you lose a lot of your stomach muscle togetherness after they do that.
Integrity.
Like it doesn't go back to the way that it was before. Yeah. So
that makes sense.
Yeah. So it does. It's a long recuperation afterwards. And it's extremely painful. And, you know, there's always the risks of like anesthesia and stuff like that. So if you can do it vaginally, it's always the best choice. But the doctors, yes, they do want it to be convenient for them. That
I totally understood that, by the way. The reason that the holidays are less likely birthdays is because the doctors will be like, oh, it looks like you're due coming up. Why don't we get that scheduled? Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get it until you said it. And then it sort of came as a realization to me.
Oh, okay. I was Googling what day did this happen. So Grok says if it's right, it seems to be talking about the same case. It says it happened September 9th, 2024.
All I can say is if I was an OBGYN, I would definitely be trying to schedule them in between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday.
He said it was
no weekend births.
It was September 9th on an afternoon. Maybe they were like wanting to go home. More Free Talk Live coming up. Don't go anywhere. It's Free Talk Live. You can call 603-283-6160 to bring up whatever's on your mind. 603-283-6160. It's Free Talk Live.
Yesterday, two groups of men shot at each other near Tobagram Base, where I am. Today, the soldiers are happy about some of the men dying and sad about other men dying. Sergeant First Class Aaron Tomlin is only sad about 4 of the dead people.
It's a long, tough day here. We lost 4 good men.
No, 27 men died. 4 American soldiers and 23 Taliban soldiers. You said that 4 soldiers died and it makes you sad. But you said when Taliban soldiers die, it does not make you sad. I asked Base Commander David Hawkins to make it make sense.
The last thing we resort to is hurting anyone. But you have to understand, it's our job to keep the American people safe from our enemies. And sometimes that includes...
So if you kill your enemies at your job, it is not sad.
Well...
What if I killed my enemy Ryan at my job? It would not be sad?
No, you shouldn't do that.
But he is rude to me. He steals my yogurts. He makes fun of the way I talk.
Look, only soldiers can kill without getting in trouble.
Okay. Are you going to kill Ryan?
No.
It does not make sense.
This is the Onion News Network.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Nick Harper with the Week in Review. Much of the week was dominated with the continuing US-Iran conflict. The ceasefire remains despite a flare-up in tensions and an exchange of fire in the Strait of Hormuz. The US gave Iran a couple of days to weigh up a 14-point memorandum, a one-pager that could end the fighting. As FSN's Alistair D'Souza reports.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, while on a trip to Italy, says Iran's response is expected Friday. Rubio says he hopes serious negotiations then follow. The U.S. proposal is aimed at putting an immediate end to the fighting and opening up the Strait of Hormuz. A 30-day period of talks would then take place to address tough questions on Iran's nuclear program. Meanwhile, the fighting continued Thursday, marking the most intense military confrontation in weeks. U.S. President Trump insisting the ceasefire is very much in place.
The US and the Vatican have committed to improving bilateral ties after a fence-mending visit by Secretary of State Marco Rubio. His trip to Rome comes amid President Donald Trump's repeated broadsides against the leader of the Catholic Church, who's urged for peace in the Middle East. Ever since Tony Waterman sent this report from Washington.
It's an unusual assignment for Secretary Rubio to repair relations with the Vatican after his boss, President Trump, called the Pope weak and said the head of the Catholic Church supported Iran having a nuclear weapon. The State Department says Rubio and Pope Leo discussed the situation in the Middle East during his 2.5-hour visit to the Vatican, but didn't go into detail. Pope Leo, the first American pontiff, has been a vocal critic of Trump's war in Iran and his immigration policies. The trip was partly meant to help the White House shore up conservative Christian voters ahead of the midterms, a loyal Trump base upset with how he's treated the pontiff and memes the president has posted depicting himself as Jesus.
A U.S. federal trade court this week struck down President Donald Trump's global 10% tariff, declaring it illegal. The White House imposed the rate in February after the Supreme Court ruled against the administration's Liberation Day tariffs. Meanwhile, President Trump has set a July 4th deadline for the European Union to implement a trade deal brokered last summer. FSN's William Denslow sent this report from Brussels.
Despite having what he called a great call with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, President Trump announced that tariffs would soar should the trade agreement not be implemented by July 4th. Under the agreement, European goods would see duties largely capped at 15%, while the US would see tariffs on its products wiped out. The European Parliament and EU member states must still endorse the deal.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN. This week, a deadly hantavirus outbreak on board a cruise ship led to Spain giving the vessel permission to dock in the Canary Islands. 3 passengers have died on board since it set sail from Argentina across the Atlantic Ocean last month. Former passengers who left the ship at earlier ports have been advised to self-isolate. FSN's Stuart Smith reports from London.
146 people from 23 nations are still on board the ship, which has been anchored off the African island nation of Cape Verde for 3 days after being refused permission to disembark. It's now sailing to Spain's Canary Islands, from where passengers will return home after being checked if they're fit to travel. But the president of the Canary Islands has protested the plan. While the variant of the disease believed to be responsible for this outbreak is transmissible between humans, it requires much closer contact than flu or COVID-19. And the World Health Organization says there's no need for panic. Stuart Smith, London.
An explosion at a fireworks factory in central China this week killed at least 35 people. Chinese President Xi Jinping urged all-out efforts to search for people who were unaccounted for and to save the dozens of people who were injured in the explosion. FSN's Laura Westbrook sent this report from Hong Kong.
Online footage showed white smoke billowing high into the air at the explosion site, and there was also damage to homes at nearby villages. Footage showing that glass was shattered and some doors also broken at some homes at nearby villages. Also, residents reported that heavy rocks were blown onto the road. Around 480 personnel, including firefighters, rescuers and medical personnel, they have been on the scene.
And that's the Week in Review. That's Feature Story News. Nick Harper reporting.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish a TV show where I travel across this great nation, eating pork in every one of our 50 states. Join me on my cross-country odyssey as I make our forefathers proud, reveling in life, liberty, and the pursuit of pork.
You can really taste the cooked pork. This stuff is fantastic. I'm a big salt fan.
Let's pork! We're tasting prime pork dishes in every state in the Union, and I couldn't be more excited for this once-in-a-lifetime tour. You're going to be right here with me, seeing everything I do and watching every pork I taste. I'm Jim Haggerty. You know me as the host of Today Now, but I've also eaten in a ton of restaurants. Now I'm heading out on the road. My mission? Find the best pork our country has to offer.
Watch Jim Haggerty's Porkin' Across America at youtube.com/The Onion.
This is the Onion News Network.
You can stick it to the man and big tech. Join our FTL social mastodon at social.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. That means that you can call 603-283-6160 to get in on the conversation with us and bring up whatever's on your mind. We have a caller on the line. But first, Free Talk Live is brought to you by LibertyMinded.com. Official Free Talk Live gear, like t-shirts and hoodies, are available at LibertyMinded.com. Plus, you'll find a unique collection of cool and funny liberty-oriented clothing at LibertyMinded.com. That's LibertyMinded.com, and with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie,
Lori,
and Mark.
And let's go straight to the phones and to the fun. We have an unscreened caller on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind? Can you hear us, caller?
Oh, hello. Sorry. Were you referring to me?
Yes.
Oh, hello. I'm Kai. Is Aria there?
No, this is just Bonnie, Lori, and Mark on tonight, Kai. What's on? Do you have anything?
Bonnie, I remember you.
Oh, hi. What's on your mind tonight?
Yeah,
have you been a listener before, but not in a while?
No, Bonnie was good peeps. So, I am Kai. This is part of the official disclosure. Is the entity still there?
Oh, do you mean Peakless Mountaineer?
Yes.
No, he's not on the show anymore.
Okay, well, that's good, because, I
recognize your voice.
Would be awkward. So, yes, the People of Earth thing. We've, so it turns out that the good aliens are drum roll, please. Everybody on FTL knows this. Anarchists.
The good aliens are anarchists. What do you mean when you say that?
Yes, sorry. My phone is like awkward. Yeah, the good aliens are effing anarchists because God is an anarchist.
God's an anarchist. Okay.
God is an anarchist. Why would you not be an anarchist? Like, break down the word, the roots, and without archy rulers. Would God want you to be ruled for all time, for all eternity? No, God would not want that. So, here we are.
I haven't thought about it this way before. As deciding that God has created us in His image, and in His image He is unruled. So
it's Mark Edge is talking to you.
Yes, my name is Mark Edge. Hi, Kai. And I'm just kind of, so of course all my religious teaching suggests that, Jesus is king, right? Or God is king.
This is hi, Mark. So this is an important disambiguation that we are here to make. So Jesus is king, but in the sort of like, snoogly, sneaky way of being king, in that he is king but not king. He is very Jewish. There's no other. We're not going to mince words here. He's a dragon. Jesus is a dragon. Jesus is a dragon. Yes.
When you say dragon,
Christ consciousness.
What do you mean?
Christ consciousness is Christa. Look up the Greek root word Christa. It means to be Christed. It means to be basically bitten by a snake. That's the Greek root word.
I'm going to have to take your word for it at this point. I can't keep up with the Googling of all it, but okay.
So, yes.
So bitten by a serpent is
to be tested. To be tested. That's what we mean by that. So it just means that you're tested and you either won the lottery or you
succumb to the poison,
or you really flunked out of school. So I'm going to give you a URL. Okay. That you may wish to disseminate.
Well, you're on the radio right now, so we're disseminating now.
This is our official disclosure. This is it's on Substack because why not? So it's called Musings from My Spaceship. I am Kai. It's so it's PrometheusLost.substack.com. That is PRO.
It's spelled in the normal Prometheus fashion?
Yep.
Okay.
For me, but nothing. No characters in between. Lost.substack.com.
Okay.
Awesome. PrometheusLost.substack.com. So when you say we, do you mean that you have been in contact with other entities?
Oh yes. Many other entities. Yes. This is a team effort here. A very extensive team effort. But yeah, it's awesome. But yeah, I am actually I'm gonna go over here now. Are you, babe? Are you cool?
Got anything else for us, Kai?
Well,
is this related to the government UFO file drop?
Yes, it's completely related to that.
Okay.
My boyfriend is making a funny face at me, but yeah, it's completely related. It's because the Epstein SHIT is all completely real, unfortunately. We wish it wasn't, but it completely is. And so the evil Magai is the proper pronunciation of that. The quote-unquote Freemasons, which, again, the, what was it, Peakless Mountaineer, got close enough to imbue us with the knowledge. They're bad.
The aliens are bad?
Well, they are the ones that never left, actually, and we never left either. But they.
I think she's saying that the Epstein people are the bad magicians.
Okay.
They're
That's what I'm saying, yes.
evil aliens who never left.
Oh, yeah. I didn't get that. Okay.
Yep. And what you probably don't know is that they have been torturing the cosmos for a long time.
Is this the shape-shifting lizard people theory? I need help. I'm sorry.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have
Is it possible to be a shape-shifting lizard person and not know, or do you always know?
You always know. There's an activation period that has to happen.
Okay.
And most of
how long is
plot
it?
twist. But Mark, here's the plot twist.
I'm listening.
Most of the shape-shifting lizards are actually the good guys.
And that's where you get the dragon idea from?
Yes, correct.
Whoa.
Precisely, Bonnie. Yes. Yep.
So they sort of exist in their own sort of culture to some extent, and they have their own infighting and that sort of thing.
We have orders. We have, and we're very. The irony is that we are anarchists, but we have very specific orders. Now, what does that mean?
Are all anarchists shape-shifting lizard people?
No.
Okay. Thank goodness, because I feel like I didn't get the orders.
No.
You just haven't activated yet.
No.
We haven't got an answer as to how long that takes.
But it's basic. It's like, dude, Star Wars, the way.
Star Wars The Way? You mean like Jedi stuff?
Yeah,
Okay.
Jedi stuff.
Okay.
So
I like Jediism as a religion. I like it. I'm in. You got me. I like the idea, and I've spent more time than I should trying to move pens and things.
Yeah, I
wave people away.
I've tried that too.
I feel like I can do the limited
These are
mind
not the
control.
droids you're looking for.
My day job is essentially as Hermes Conrad. So.
Hermes Conrad because he's like out in the fields.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, do you have anything else you want to say about disclosure? I feel like I'm getting everything she's saying. I understand.
Do you want to say anything? You sure? You sure?
Thanks for the call, Kai.
Thanks for the call, Kai. Honestly, call whenever you want. I'm pretty interested. I just know that
I feel like Kai is on the edge of genius and insanity, right? Like right there. You can kind of hear it.
This is a smart person.
Oh, I believe you. I absolutely
met her.
believe it. I 100%. I can see from here, like where, sort of Midland. I can see that's a smart person.
Yeah. I don't know.
Bonnie says that she understands it. And I feel like you are fluent in a language I don't speak because...
Thank you for the call, Kai. Honestly,
Wasn't
call in whenever you feel like you want to call in again. I don't know if you have
It's a fascinating call.
more to say about the disclosure. I haven't looked into the actual UFO files the government apparently dropped.
I saw that they dropped UFO files, but I don't trust you already. Why would I listen to anything you say?
I also haven't read the Epstein files to find out whether the pedophilic baby eating is
I read some.
so
I did,
or
and
what.
it's true.
I just don't know.
The baby eating's
I
true.
need to hear more.
The craziest thing that is
I need to hear more
110%
than
true.
Bonnie say it's true.
The thing that's more than 110% true, that's like the craziest thing, that's nothing like, oh, somebody called in and said this to the FBI, is that they were creating designer babies with this crypto guy named Brian something. I can't remember his name right now.
Designer babies are a thing.
Yeah, that's a thing. They just CRISPR them.
People
They're talking about CRISPRing out your cancer now. Like you get cancer and they just go in and delete it.
It's not just that designer babies existed. It's that Epstein was working with these designer baby people for trying to clone himself.
Okay.
So and it's just that they're talking back and forth like they were never going to get caught. So you can find those things. It's nothing
You
like
mean
a
I
third.
can't
a bunch
clone
of
myself?
A bunch of Epsteins though would be so boring. He was not a fascinating intellectual.
He had a nice
person.
jawline.
Yeah, but to talk to, he was
I don't know. I haven't talked to him.
The thing about him was
you haven't seen any interviews with him or anything like that. Oh, he was not compelling.
I feel like what he was always doing was he just wasn't interested in what other people are saying. And I'm not saying because he was so smart he was above it, like some people might be trying to say. I think that it's just that he was really selfish. Other people would be talking to him and he would just be like,
waiting for them to stop.
Yeah, he just didn't care. There would be people that were like, I'm so excited to get this opportunity to talk to you, sir. And he would just be like blowing him off constantly. That's like what the energy was and everything I saw.
Did you see the video of the aliens with the little star-shaped thing?
No, is this in the files or something?
Yeah, in the drop. I did see the video. There was a video of like this thing like shaped like a star. I did see a meme that was really funny. Somebody had photoshopped it to look like the little Jewish star floating around. That was funny. But somebody pointed out that like if you superimpose a biblical angel over it, it kind of looks right.
Creepy.
Which was interesting.
It's interesting that a spaceship would have any shape at all.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the proper shape in space is probably a sphere or a cube, because
maybe they're dynamic.
Or anything, yeah.
Maybe they're dynamic, and like depending on where it goes and the pressure of gravity and stuff, it can shift.
My thought on this, and
like
I've spent
the T2
way more time. Like the Terminator. I've spent way more time thinking about aliens than a sane person should. But my theory is that they've absolutely been here, and nobody's absolutely seen them, because they exist in such a, something that can travel in super light speed can't twist light in such a way that they won't be seen.
Yeah.
I saw a thing. So I do remember now that we did do a show in person together because we had talked about aliens.
Ah, well,
yeah,
it makes sense. I like doing it.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I saw a thing once. I was outside and there was like a light in the sky, and I was like, that's a weird looking star. And I watched it for a minute, and it shot up into the air. Gone.
Was this where I think it was?
Yeah, in Devons.
Where
in
Ian
Massachusetts
was in prison.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and like, I have no way to explain that other than something not from here.
I guess I would, shooting stars, the first thing that comes to my mind. There's lots of
shooting
those things.
Shooting stars don't go up into the space. So.
I don't know how to. I wasn't there, and so in order to say you're a fool and that didn't happen, I would have to say the same thing about my dad, and I am unwilling to do that.
Well, what'd he see?
He saw something that he considered to be sort of a cluster of lights that were sort of regular, like it was lit up, like a shape that had lights around it.
Whoa.
Like a saucer?
Yeah, like a saucer, but that's the way he described it. I believe so.
Interesting.
I don't remember where. He told me this a very long time ago. And, at the time I'm kind of like, I just don't want to believe in aliens. But, I mean, this guy isn't going to lie to me.
Right.
And then one night I saw just two eyes in the woods, like eye shine kind of eyes that were way farther apart than an owl would be, and way taller than a man would be. And I don't know how to explain it.
Was that in Florida?
No, that was here in New Hampshire on the way home on Route 12.
No!
And I have no explanation. I literally saw nothing but this eye shine situation in a place that there are absolutely no lights.
Yeah.
And I don't have an explanation other than I have no explanation, so I can't. As I've gotten older, I'm less and less willing to come down hard on any given situation where a person says they have an experience. You had the experience as far as I'm concerned. I will work with that information.
Yeah. Elsbeth and I luckily saw the one UFO I've ever seen together. Like, if I was all alone, I'd be so mad because, I'm one of those people who's very open to these things. So, I'd be talking to people. They'd be like, yeah, of course you want to see when you... No, I saw it with Elsbeth, and it doesn't make any sense. It was shaped like a cross, but really rounded edges. But it was the entire cross was a lit up thing. It wasn't some shape...
That's just Jesus.
Of a cross, but lights on it. It's like the entire thing was light. It was like a light bulb in the shape of a giant cross a mile above the ground, and it was so careful the way it went down, and it made no noise. It was like a mile away from us, a mile in the sky.
Yeah, this thing made no noise too. The thing that I saw. And I'm open to either that it was something not of Earth or some spooky government thing that nobody knows about yet.
Right. I think
that's why they're called UFOs, right?
Yeah. It's a UFO of some kind.
And I've tried. I've looked up helicopter landing. Is there some way that it could look like what I saw? But I have not seen anything like that online.
This is where I am willing to take a strong stand. The people who work in the government are incompetent and irresponsible. And I just can't imagine that somehow they've kept under the lid, this technology that people have constantly said that they've had for decades. They said they had spaceship-like technology for decades. We don't have it now.
Right.
I mean, we're not at the spaceship point, so I don't believe we had it then.
I don't think so either. If we can't even, like, the ships that they go to the moon with are clunky and not very well designed and heavy, and like if they're not using better technology now to do that, then I don't think the thing I saw was a government. But I'm open to the idea that it was maybe.
I would just think that they were hiding it.
I more think that it was something else.
Like on Dugway Proving Ground, many people, including people that my dad knew, including a guy that was the husband.
What is Dugway Pooping Ground?
Sorry. No, that's not what I said. It's Dugway Proving Ground.
Okay.
And it's a military base in Utah where they test chemical weapons. It's so funny.
They have people live there?
And they have a small amount of people that live there, and they're trying to push out as many people as possible. Sorry,
Seems like a good idea.
Yeah, but they have this giant. It's the size of Rhode Island, the entire base, right? But we could only live on this 5-mile radius area, and then you'd have to have clearance to go deeper and deeper. My dad only had like a small amount of clearance. He was just a medic that lived on the base, worked on the clinic, and then I was just in high school there, and then worked at the hotel. At one point, I worked at a bank that had a branch 1 clearance deeper, which took me like 1 mile deeper in. That's it. But then when I stopped working at that bank, I stopped even having that clearance. It's like they changed my badge and everything. You can't get onto this military base with just a military ID, like almost every other military ID or military base in the country or whatever. But anyways, there are underground tunnels there, and they won't like talk about it. You can't Google it and find like, oh yes, and there are underground tunnels there. Like so many people that I know that just wouldn't lie to me have seen them and talk to my dad about it or talk to me about it. That it's just like people have gone there for their job, whatever they're doing, and then like they see a truck drive into like underneath the giant rock, drive underground. It's like, what are they doing there?
Yeah, so there's that story of the guy who found the vibrating cave or whatever out in the desert.
Whoa,
Have you heard about that?
Mm-mm.
Oh, so this guy, he made like a whole YouTube journey. Like he found this cave and then he left. He didn't go inside because he said it felt bad.
I bet.
But then like all his viewers were like, oh, you got to go inside, right? So he goes back, and the second time he couldn't find it again. And everyone was egging him on like, you have to find it. You have to find it. So he went back again and found it and then disappeared. And so the theory is that it was a military underground cave system, and he, for
finding
in there
and
for
yeah,
getting in
I
there.
saw a story on that.
And why was it vibrating? What do you mean by that?
Probably, some kind of technology that they're doing, mining under there, or just machinery running, or whatever type of systems they have. Maybe it was like a device they have like those audio devices that make you feel sick and stuff. So maybe it was something like that, like makes you feel bad so you don't go in there.
I worked with Ian, your husband, for more than 20 years, and I consider him to be pretty much my best friend in the world. That doesn't mean I like him.
You're like one of his top. No, I'm just kidding.
But I gotta say, please, if you would, I'm begging you, go to freeiannow.org, sign the petition to get him out of prison. It's freeiannow.org. But the one thing that I will never forgive Ian for, like I just cannot forgive him for, is that I wanted to go to the Area 51 sort of protest where everybody's going to Naruto run at the gate or whatever.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to go because he's such a stick in the mud.
Would you have done the Naruto run?
Hell no, but I'm there. I'm a reporter.
Yeah.
I watch people do things and report on it.
Yeah.
And that would have been so awesome, I think, to go there. You'd
meet awesome people.
You would have
at the
met some
very least.
very interesting people.
Maybe
Yeah.
Kai was there.
I was in high school when that happened. I was just like something going on in the world, like, whoa, that's crazy. But if I was like out of high school, I think that I would want to go. But why would he? What do you mean? Like, what about being a stick in the mud? What made him just like, he's like, those people are lunatics. I'm not wasting my time. Oh.
He's always like that, for a long time. He's just like, it sounds like work.
He doesn't like leaving the state, and I don't blame him. Like
He does not like leaving the state. I think is the fundamental issue.
Every time I have to leave the state, it's not really something about New Hampshire. It's like leaving my house. It's like,
Yeah.
this is work.
No, it's New Hampshire.
Yeah.
If this happened at Pease Air Force Base, you better believe you'd have been there. Yeah.
Yeah, I doubt anything's happening there. But
No. I've taken flights out of there from they have an airport on site.
Oh.
Obviously.
Interesting. I honestly, I think of New Hampshire as like a place that like nothing military really happens.
I think it's a retired base. I don't think anything specifically is happening there, but maybe the government still owns it or something. But you can fly commercial in and out of this place.
Wow. Speaking of airports, apparently a Frontier plane ran into and hit somebody in the Denver airport.
Yeah.
Denver International Airport.
They were on the runway or something?
Yeah. Somebody got on the runway and
Why?
didn't get off.
Oh, so it's just like something's going on, like that guy in front of Uber George's thing.
Why is Sarah not stopping these people? Why are there not cameras on the runways to stop these planes from speeding and hitting pedestrians?
They just need a red light camera, something like that. More Free Talk Live coming up. 603-283-6160. Bring up whatever's on your mind, and more Free Talk Live coming up.
A congressman recently revealed that legislation totaling 2,900 pages and involving more than $1 trillion was available to members of Congress for less than 48 hours to study and consider. That's over 60 pages of legislation per hour. Do you think anyone read the entire bill? I'm Jim Babka with DownsizeDC.org. Consider a proposal buried in a 3,200-page, $388 billion bill, which would have empowered committee chairmen or their agents to examine Americans' tax returns. When this horrible provision came to light, no one claimed to know how it got into the bill. One congressman questioned said, "I didn't write it, I didn't approve it, I wasn't even consulted." If your attorney represented you this way, he might be disbarred. But this is how Congress represents you every day. That's why DownsizeDC.org has created the Read the Bills Act. You can force Congress to read their bills before they pass them at DownsizeDC.org.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Nick Harper with the Week in Review. Much of the week was dominated with the continuing US-Iran conflict. The ceasefire remains despite a flare-up in tensions and an exchange of fire in the Strait of Hormuz. The US gave Iran a couple of days to weigh up a 14-point memorandum, a one-pager that could end the fighting. As FSN's Alistair D'Souza reports.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, while on a trip to Italy, says Iran's response is expected Friday. Rubio says he hopes serious negotiations then follow. The U.S. proposal is aimed at putting an immediate end to the fighting and opening up the Strait of Hormuz. A 30-day period of talks would then take place to address tough questions on Iran's nuclear program. Meanwhile, the fighting continued Thursday, marking the most intense military confrontation in weeks. U.S. President Trump insisting the ceasefire is very much in place.
The US and the Vatican have committed to improving bilateral ties after a fence-mending visit by Secretary of State Marco Rubio. His trip to Rome comes amid President Donald Trump's repeated broadsides against the leader of the Catholic Church, who's urged for peace in the Middle East. FSN's Tony Waterman sent this report from Washington.
It's an unusual assignment for Secretary Rubio to repair relations with the Vatican after his boss, President Trump, called the Pope weak and said the head of the Catholic Church supported Iran having a nuclear weapon. The State Department says Rubio and Pope Leo discussed the situation in the Middle East during his 2.5-hour visit to the Vatican, but didn't go into detail. Pope Leo, the first American pontiff, has been a vocal critic of Trump's war in Iran and his immigration policies. The trip was partly meant to help the White House shore up conservative Christian voters ahead of the midterms, a loyal Trump base upset with how he's treated the pontiff and memes the president has posted depicting himself as Jesus.
A U.S. federal trade court this week struck down President Donald Trump's global 10% tariff, declaring it illegal. The White House imposed the rate in February after the Supreme Court ruled against the administration's Liberation Day tariffs. Meanwhile, President Trump has set a July 4th deadline for the European Union to implement a trade deal brokered last summer. FSN's William Denslow sent this report from Brussels.
Despite having what he called a great call with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, President Trump announced that tariffs would soar should the trade agreement not be implemented by July 4th. Under the agreement, European goods would see duties largely capped at 15%, while the US would see tariffs on its products wiped out. The European Parliament and EU member states must still endorse the deal.
From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN.
Don't miss a moment of Free Talk Live. Get our archives daily via our podcast at feeds.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live talk radio that you control, and 603-283-6160 is the phone number you can call, 603-283-6160. And if you're tired of the oppressive rules and moderation of the big tech social media sites, our Mastodon server at social.freetalklive.com can set you free. Mastodon is free, open source, decentralized, and federated. Multiple apps are available for iOS, Android, Windows, Mac, and Linux. Social.freetalklive.com, and with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie,
Lori,
and Mark Edge.
And we do have a caller on the line, and I'm glad there's been lots of calls tonight. Turd Ferguson in Pennsylvania, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Well, actually, the last caller that called in is all the proof that you need that aliens don't exist. I mean, after you heard that lunatic, if you actually think that anything she said was serious or true,
that's not really how proving something exists works.
Yeah, I think it's
the
much.
fact that she believes it, she or he, I couldn't tell, but I think the fact that
she's
she
a
or
woman.
he believes it.
Yeah.
Well,
Turd, I have some questions.
Sure, shoot.
Does intelligent life, exist on other planets?
Well, I'm assuming not, because I've never seen one.
Okay.
And that's proof that it's not real.
That's not proof of anything.
Yeah, it's not proof.
I've
It's
never
proof that you haven't seen it.
I've never seen a mountain lion.
Yeah, me either.
I'm pretty sure they're real, though.
I've never been to Australia.
You want to know how I know that mountain lions are real?
Sure.
Because I've seen them in biology books.
Okay.
That could be photoshopped.
That could be photoshopped.
Doubt.
Well, I didn't ask you whether aliens had visited Earth. I asked you if intelligent life exists on other planets.
No.
Well, we know Turd doesn't know the answer to this.
I know. Well, but Turd is a smart guy. He is a flaming a-hole, but he is a smart guy. And the idea that we have, literally, we don't have a number big enough to describe how many planets there are out there. Now, we probably can safely say hundreds of billions of habitable planets in the way that we sort of understand habitability. That's a lot of planets.
Right.
And the idea that only one of them has intelligent life on it seems
crazy.
Really, remarkably small. Mm-hmm. So I really expected you to say otherwise, Turd.
Well, there might be some that are theoretically habitable only from, what we can see.
You're talking, I just said hundreds of billions. You want to pare this down dramatically? Let's take 1 of 1,000 of those and get it down to hundreds of millions.
So mathematically speaking, we on Earth shouldn't even be here.
Uh-huh.
And so there's of the chances that things actually, that mathematically and biologically and physiologically and all these things, that they lined up in a way that we were able to exist on this planet is like not even 1 in a trillion, or not.
Hold on, that's not so. Those numbers aren't even close. No, we are not at hundreds of trillions of chances of 1 in 100 trillions chances that life exists on Earth. But I'll tell you, statistically, nobody should win the lottery every single week, but they do.
Well, we didn't. We won it once, and there's a scientist, and I forget his name off the top of my head, but he actually calculated mathematically the odds of everything exactly. And
was this like some apologist in a book or something? Like who?
No.
Let me look it up.
It's called the Goldilocks theorem, and basically, for everything to have lined up exactly the way it did for us to be able to exist is virtually impossible. But it happened, and it happened here on Earth. And now I'm just trying to think of like double those odds of that existing somewhere else. And it just seems impossible to me. And on top of that, I've never seen anything. And of all the technology that we have that's taking these pictures of planets that are light years away,
at this point, we're taking pictures of planets as they pass in front of their star, and we're getting some notion of what that they exist. We're not getting pictures. We have no pictures of planets from other solar systems. We don't even have a good picture of Pluto.
Yeah, farthest one away. Do you guys want to talk to another caller that is into Chronic Caller.
Okay. I'd love that.
Let's go to, sorry, Turd Ferguson. Let's go to the other caller, the unscreened caller. Maybe David? What's on your mind tonight, caller?
Well, I'm trying to find out the numbers and everything, but there are, if you took a picture and put it in front of you every single second, and that represents every single star, you just sat there and looked at pictures, it'd take you 4 or 5 lifetimes to look at every single one just in our galaxy alone.
And that's just the stars. That's not even counting the planets around the stars.
Right. And then you've got all those planets around it. What are the chances there's not some life on the other side of the galaxy? We haven't even looked at all of them. I mean, even Hubble, they've only looked through the center of the galaxy and looked at those.
I'm as skeptical as they come.
Every other single different.
And even I don't believe that
there's no life.
That there's no intelligent life. I'm willing to stipulate intelligent life, and I'll go a bit further and go ahead and say that there is intelligent life that has traveled through space. Now, I don't know anything more than that. My contention is that they're probably that if aliens have visited Earth, that they since they could travel clearly at super light speeds, they have some way to control light, and therefore we couldn't see them. That would be my contention, that whatever it is that people are seeing, and they're seeing something, is something that's probably not aliens, because, that they wouldn't need to be seen, but I think that aliens have definitely been here and seen us and done all that.
Well, I think the chances of them actually seeing us are slim to none. There's just too many possibilities. You've got other galaxies out there. Our nearest galaxy, Andromeda, is, 10 times the size as our galaxy stacked, line them up, and it's that far away. But
they've got AI, right? I mean, AI just, you put it on the problem and it says, okay, it's running through the problem and figuring out, stuff, and maybe, I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Who knows what we're going to accomplish once we get the quantum computing in the mix? Like,
it doesn't seem crazy to the idea that we could send out probes that, get information. Really, the question is beating sort of time and space and being able to send back information quickly enough.
Voyager 1 and 2 are, Voyager, is it 2 is farther than 1. It's just now reaching the edge of our solar system.
The Kuiper Belt, yeah.
And it's been, 60, 70 years?
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know when it was launched, 1950 something.
It's clearly not traveling at light speed.
Not getting out there. So being able to get that signal back or anything, we can sit and receive, but trying to send a signal out, we're never going to be able to send a signal out because our technology can't get that far.
Not the way it is currently. And this is one of the theories on interstellar travel. So if we were to do it now, we'd have to build a spaceship and then live in that spaceship as we went to Alpha Centauri. And in that trip, people would live and die on that spaceship. Now, the theory is that if you wait 50 years before you send that ship, then we'll beat the problem of super light travel, and then we're going to pass that ship on the way to Alpha Centauri, so you don't send it in the first place.
Dang.
To us, I believe it's Betelgeuse is the nearest one.
I thought it was Alpha Centauri, but all right. Betelgeuse is gigantic. I know that much.
I mean, how long is it going to take you to get there? 4.25 light years away.
Right.
Yeah, you're not talking just a couple of generations. That's 1,000 generations and everything since then.
Yeah, I read some fiction book about this, talking like a slow train, I think is what they call it.
There's a lot of talk about, I think it was a couple months ago, they said, it was aliens and everything, it was a Cessna flying under the radar. Somebody was just flying low. They're like, maybe it's aliens, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. Well, what's the easiest way to calm people down? It's aliens, and they are peaceful because everybody will be attracted to that. But you got so many differences going on when chaos goes. That's why I think maybe they're going to say something, say we released aliens, and somebody's going around saying they've hacked anti-gravity.
Caller, do you think that we actually went to the other side of the moon last month or whenever that was, Apollo 2?
I haven't been paying attention to it. Well, there's nobody on it. It was a couple dummies that went out there.
But the thing about it is...
we have landed on the moon.
Okay, you believe we landed on the moon. Okay.
So I thought that the dark side of the moon was too cold for people to, like, go on. How did they...
It's the unseen side of the moon is what it is.
Yeah, the dark
didn't
side.
actually...
No, the dark side is the unseen side. So the dark side gets lit up when the sun strikes it. It's not... The side of the moon that is currently not being lit can be too cold.
Okay, so they went there when it was...
Well, they just flew around it recently.
But there was no person on it.
Okay, so they didn't go on the moon and go onto the dark side. That's okay. That's
Even
what
then,
I didn't
even
follow
then, I
the
don't know that I
story,
believe it, because it's like, apparently we've never been able to get past this asteroid belt. But
What asteroid belt?
I forget what it's called.
There's an asteroid belt around Earth?
3 of them.
No.
There's 3 of them. What's the one that they say that we probably couldn't have got to the moon, Caller, because of the asteroid belt?
I've never heard this.
There is no asteroid belt between here and the moon.
Not that I know of. Those
Wait,
would be
maybe that's not the word I'm looking for.
Earth objects.
There's one around Ceres, which is just beyond Mars. There's one there. There's one out near Jupiter, and one out, I believe it's next one is Saturn.
Well, there's the Kuiper belt, which sits outside of, basically where Pluto is.
What am I don't know. There was something else, and it must not be asteroid, and that makes sense because there's not like asteroids that close, just like going all the time in front of the moon. You're right.
Yep.
I was thinking of something else, but I'm definitely confused. Somebody named...
technicality, the satellites are considered to be asteroids. The definition of an asteroid is orbiting a body.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
maybe they're saying we can't get there because of all the space chunk that's up there floating around. We gotta go right through it. I mean, I forgot his name. First man in space on the U.S. side. John Glenn. His glove is still up there. And
oh my
they don't
God!
know where, they don't know where it's at. That's the one they don't know. But there's nuts and bolts and little things that fly off, and they're still up there.
That is weird to think about, just like trash floating in the sea. We have somebody named Mickey Mouse. Thank you for the call, David. We have somebody named Mickey Mouse on the line. You're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind, Mickey Mouse?
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling.
I appreciate it. I wanted to talk about ForkFest. Is ForkFest up for grabs for a topic that we can discuss?
Definitely, anything is.
Well, I love that. So, I don't know, I didn't listen to the whole evening program, and if anyone called in to mention about the plans for this year's ForkFest or not.
Has anyone called in to mention about the plans? Well, we've been bringing up, we've been reading an ad read. So in the first hour, we talked about ForkFest, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, I missed the first hour. I was working late.
Yeah,
so
I'll be there.
Rate the topic.
And forkfest.wtf is the new and improved website.
Oh, cool. Is that so? It's a .wtf or is it?
Yep.
WTF.
Forkfest.wtf.
Sorry, it was radiation belts. It's the Van Allen radiation belt.
Oh, the Van Allen belt. Gotcha.
That's great. And I heard something that there's just a limited amount of people who can stay at the camp, and I'm just wondering where people would sign up to be part of that special group.
Forkfest.wtf.
Yeah, and it'll lead you to the email forkfest2026@gmail.com to actually sign up if you already know all the details and you're like, yep, I want to sign up. Just email forkfest2026@gmail.com to get in on the list, which is at 50 right now. So we're at 50% capacity. Might get to 100. I'm going to the LNC, is that what's called? The Libertarian National Convention. And I plan to tell as many outsiders as possible about it, so maybe we get some people that aren't just like from New Hampshire. I mean, we already have people that are not from New Hampshire coming, but most of them have been to a ForkFest before. I'm hoping that we get some new people. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Have you been?
People would be super. I'm excited about the, I heard there's a new location also. I haven't been to ForkFest before, but I was excited to hear about going up into further rural New Hampshire.
Yeah, it's really nice up there. It's really pretty. I went up last weekend to check it out for the first time. Furthest north I've ever been in New Hampshire, even though I've been further north in Maine. But that was the furthest north I've ever been in New Hampshire before, and it's so pretty.
Oh, cool. Thanks for letting me call in to talk about that. I'm excited, and I'll definitely be sending an email.
Awesome.
I appreciate it.
Excited to see you there. That's forkfest.wtf for more information for anyone else. And we have David from New Mexico on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind, David?
Couple things. So, first of all, why do you label people that take an interest in your program on a regular basis with a derogatory term?
Chronic?
Yeah. Dude.
It's a terminology that is used in the industry, and I would say the reason that
Wait a minute. The industry, you don't like, Ian doesn't like acronyms. He wants to spell it out. What is the industry?
That's not an
What kind of
acronym.
lingo is that?
Talk radio.
Yeah, well, it's equivalent to an acronym or an acronym.
Do you mean jargon? Is that what you mean? Like Ian doesn't
No,
like
I'm just telling. I'm answering your question. I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, where I'm coming from is, why do you hate your callers?
I don't hate my callers. I think
then
that
why do you call it a derogatory term?
I don't call it a derogatory term.
Oh, let me inject before I don't get a chance. Michael in Texas, thanks for noticing. Appreciate it. Go ahead, Mark.
It's nice. So I don't consider a chronic caller a derogatory term. I think that one of the things that Free Talk Live, I'm not done. I get to answer the question, and I want to answer the question. Free Talk Live has made its bones by being frank, right? And being even bombastic. So, I don't mind. The terminology I used to describe myself when I started this show was arrogant, confused jackass, right? So I don't mind using rough language to describe things. I don't consider it insulting. Chronic simply means, in this circumstance, somebody who calls regularly.
Mm-hmm. And it's like we were talking to Turd, and I was like, oh, there's somebody else that we could talk to that we may have never talked to before.
And that's really what it comes down
person.
to, is that is to get new, fresh blood on the air.
Yeah.
And
it's like some people, if they hold for so long, they might just be like, they're never going to get to me, and then
that's
they hang
the other
up.
thing.
So it's like, I didn't really want to cut off Turd. I normally would have talked to him longer.
They
That's
don't
kind
have
of
the
thing.
experience of holding the way that other people do, and they can get scared and frustrated and drop off. Do you, David, if you were behind the microphone, would you give preference to somebody who is called regularly, or would you give preference to somebody you hadn't heard before?
That's not the question, Mark.
I'm listening. I've answered the
I
question.
think he has answered the question.
I've answered it, and I'll answer it again. I don't mind calling people. David, I think you are an a-hole, but that doesn't mean I don't love you, right? I think people have called me an a-hole many times. It doesn't bother me. This rough language doesn't bother me.
Yeah, the only person I feel bad sometimes when I say chronic caller, I'm like, I don't want Dave Ridley to think he's a chronic caller.
Dave Ridley's a chronic caller.
He calls basically every night, but he's
all we get is chronic
caller.
callers. We have about 15 people that we cycle through here on Free Talk Live.
Today we've had a person that I've never heard from before.
I thought we had 2.
Oh, maybe 2.
And how often does that Kai person call in?
Oh, never. Almost never. I only know that person from like 3 years ago in person. But
I consider that special.
We have another caller on the line, so let's go to Alu in Virginia. You're on Free Talk Live. Alu, what's on your mind?
Hi, guys. It's been a while. I miss you all. Mark, it's great to hear you back on the show.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'm listening from the other night where Bonnie was on with 2 others, Mark and Chad, I think. And you guys mentioned the Fourth Amendment. And as I think I explained pretty well in Presumed Guilty a few years ago, the Fourth Amendment is almost totally useless and not protective of rights, because there are like 10 tremendous exceptions to the warrant requirement. You guys touched on the community caretaking doctrine, which is welfare checks.
What is the Fourth Amendment?
It's like that you can't be due process and being searched.
For searching for a warrant for search and seizures.
Yeah.
The warrant has to be particularly.
I was trying to remember what we were talking about that he's talking about when we called in. What it was somebody called in and said that because there's a haunted house in his neighborhood and kids will go to this haunted house, like actual house, that a cop used that as an excuse to go search his house. They knocked on his door at 6 a.m. and said, like, yeah, there's been some kids going to, the haunted house. house in the neighborhood. People think
That's
it's
not the
haunted.
craziest thing I've heard. I mean, there are so many, and that's just one, the community caretaking. It says if police aren't there or they claim they're not there primarily for a criminal matter, they're there to so-called check on you, a welfare check. They can do whatever they want, walk into the house. I think Mark asked you the other day, put it pretty well. If they can articulate that they think someone might be in danger, they can walk into the house, they can break through stuff, and check without a warrant, because they're there primarily, at least in the first instance, to check on someone's welfare, even though they're not, EMTs are paramedics and they don't really care, and they're a lot more likely to kill you than help you in a medical emergency. But they're there, they can walk in the house, and once they see contraband or criminal activity, they can obviously investigate and charge you and arrest you. So,
and how many times have they gone into a house, and for whatever reason they've gone in, and somebody believes that they're being burglarized, a home invasion's in the process, they come out with a gun, and this is the welfare check is a dangerous thing, because on one hand,
forever welfare checks shouldn't really happen.
Yeah. Well, I don't know whether I think that's true. Is like, if we're going to pay these people, the Department of Safety should absolutely be there. If I'm like, I think that there's something wrong with my cousin back in New Hampshire, then you should be able to send somebody there. But how do you get from nobody's answering the door to dealing with somebody who's passed out or died or whatever the situation, might need medical care at that moment?
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, I think it's kind of a difficult thing. In general, my first instinct would be to say firefighters or paramedics are a little more equipped for that. But also, you're right. In the United States, if you are banging on someone's door, they could come out with a gun, which is fine.
Yep.
But there's one way to do it. You can try calling, try knocking on the door. If they don't answer any of their phones or anything, they're probably unconscious, in which case they're not going to shoot you if you try to go inside of a raid. But the biggest issue is sending police, who, again, if you're a hammer, you think everything's a nail. Police go in expecting to arrest someone and or kill someone.
Yep.
So
I've never, I've done a little firefighting myself, been to medical calls and been to people's houses, have gone into people's houses, in some cases without getting somebody meeting me at the door, and never have I seen or heard of any situation where a firefighter shoots a resident and kills them.
Yeah, me either.
No, definitely not. And again, the mindset, doing EMS for like 14 years now, the mindset is different. EMTs, paramedics, firefighters were genuinely there primarily to help someone. And obviously, if we have to defend ourselves, we could. But I've never had to strike a patient. I've only had to barely calm someone down by helping them relax with my words. I don't think about hurting people. I could have been justified when they threatened me. But police go there, again, like a hammer, literally. Their primary purpose is to arrest and or hurt someone, and they're thinking it's them versus me. They're perps. I've heard cops who are my friends, they're afraid of everyone as a perpetrator.
Well, they're right. Everybody's broken a law. Everybody you've met entire life has broken a law. So, I mean, police that look at us as perpetrators are correct. It's just a really twisted way to look at the world.
What do you think about this, Alu? This girl that I met the other day said that she got in a car accident and then she was in an ambulance and she was in Maine, so you're supposed to wear a seatbelt. She said that the EMT people kept pushing on her stomach and trying to get her to admit that she was not wearing a seatbelt. They're saying oh, really?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think, in all my experience, I don't think EMTs are really jokers with cops. I think they genuinely do want to care. They have to document it on PCR. There's a checkbox for every MVA, whether they had a seatbelt or not. So they probably really wanted to assert whether they did or not, ascertain that. But I think if they had a reason to believe they were or were not wearing a seatbelt, I think they really would want to know so they can figure out injury patterns and stuff.
Yeah. And I think you're probably right that there's possibly an explanation for that didn't have anything to do with them trying to get her arrested. I thought about it more later. I was like, maybe that's not what she thought was going on. More Free Talk Live next Saturday. You can go to freetalklive.com for more. You can follow us on X at Free Talk Live. And thanks for listening. Peace.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, we can have a free market.